gonna have myself a real good time. I feel alive, and the world is turning inside out. Yeah, 200 degrees.
No,
floating around in ecstasy. So don't stop me now. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time. Having a good time. And a rocket ship flying through the stars. Something.
Damn it, I don't remember the first verse of that.
No, we probably should have researched that better.
We need to have the little karaoke bouncing ball.
You do get the
I fucking can
no,
do
you know,
that.
you know what you do. You know what you do. You get it on the fucking Google.
Good on.
I'm doing it.
Good old Google.
Because that is my favourite Queen song of all time.
It's one of their best.
For me, it's my favourite, and I am borderline obsessed with it because I almost play it nearly every day.
So I had never heard of that song before Shaun of the Dead.
Really?
Really. Shaun of the Dead was the first introduction. I was like, this is an amazing song. Who sings this? And my brother looked at me like
How the fuck do you not know
like
that?
I was a fucking alien. He said, that's
An
Queen.
interdimensional alien that has come here from outer space, and
They get probes up your ass.
they take probes and they take our children.
mean, that's just my free time stuff, but whatever.
Now, are you ready for the next verse?
Go on.
I'm a shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go, go, go. There's no stopping me. I'm burning through the sky, yeah. 200 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. I'm traveling at the speed of light. I'm gonna make a supersonic man out of you. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball.
having a good
Don't
time.
stop
Do I need to turn
me
the piano
now. I want to have a
Yes,
good
bash
time.
it out.
Just give me a call. Don't
just
stop
there.
me now. Now, you want to go for the next bit? This is fucking the best bit.
Go on.
Yeah, I'm a rocket ship on my way to Mars on a collision course. I'm a satellite. I'm out of control. I'm a sex machine ready to reload like an atom bomb. I'm about to
atom bomb.
explode.
All right, changing topics. How did your $150 on Tinder go?
You spent money on Tinder?
I did, man.
Why?
You listen to the last podcast, you fucking learn.
Oh,
Listen, this is episode. I got to do it. I don't give a fuck. It's
episode blah 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 blah.
No, it's episode number 12. Look at his face.
He just makes my life so
Look
much
at his
harder.
face.
He makes my life so much
All
harder.
you
what?
need to do is overdub.
No. What's that song?
This is episode.
No.
12.
Well, I'll tell you. What's the other Queen song? Ooh, you make me feel whenever there's something. You're my best friend.
And now you can't be mad.
Now
at
you
me.
can't be mad at me. This is episode 12 of Invert the Why, the only podcast sponsored by their mother, and the only podcast sponsored by Fairy
Got
Bread.
waffles today.
Oh, we got a new sponsor, Waffles. We've got the Preble Waffle Maker.
Roll out the
Purple
red
waffle.
fucking carpet
Oh,
for me,
I know.
gentlemen.
And
Thank
listen,
you.
now listen.
Oh, so excited. Waffles.
He came back for another round because he's a sick puppy. We've got Super Simon back.
Howdy, everyone. How you
And
doing?
I'm joined as always by Jason Relaxation.
Yeah.
But he's moved chairs. It's,
I feel awkward.
No, I
It doesn't
don't
feel
like
the
it.
same. I don't like it.
I don't like it, man.
It's disturbing.
You know what? I'm like fucking Rain Man. I'm like,
Yeah, that was my fault.
it's time for
I have
Wapner.
this weird bald spot on that side of my head, so I want on this side, and I've
Yeah, I've
felt
got
like
this
it was
weird
being
board spot
shown.
all over my fucking head. I don't know.
You're
where-
doing well, man. That's beautiful.
I'm an old man.
No, but you're lucky. You have a head that can suit a shaved head.
I thought he was going to
You've
say
got like the right shape for it.
You've got the head that only your mother could love. That's what I was waiting for.
No, man. What I was going to say is you got a face for radio, but we're clearly wrong.
I will say that I have the Jason Stratham forehead,
The Jason Statham.
the transporter.
He's got that look, doesn't he?
He's got that.
He's got the L'Oreal look.
He does.
Jason Statham.
That's right. He does.
Have you ever heard Jason Statham read a kid's book?
No.
So there's this book that he wrote, and it's called Fuzzy Wuzzy.
Yeah.
So
Here we go.
Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair, so Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't very fuzzy. was he?
That'd be like if Alex Jones reads it.
Alex Jones just shouts all the time.
Interdimensional aliens known as Fuzzy Wuzzy have been made known to us here at Infowars.com.
He doesn't have any hair, so he's not really that
And that's
fuzzy.
because
Clearly, he's part of the liberal agenda by not having any hair.
that's because they're interdimensional, and during their travels coming to this planet, they've lost
We've
all of
already
their hair.
fucked this podcast.
I'm telling you, fuck this podcast is such a better name than Invert the Why.
Fuck this.
I don't think iTunes would accept
No,
that.
probably not.
Yeah, they don't accept us now. They can go fuck themselves. You know what? We'll be like Alex
Thank you,
Jones,
iTunes.
and they'll
We'll be
take
here all
us
week.
off iTunes. No, fuck, I can do whatever I want. They can take us off iTunes. They can take us off Spotify. But you know what they can't do? They
our
can't
freedom.
stop me now, like fucking Queen. Now, you know what? I saw Bohemian Rhapsody. Have you seen that?
Yes.
What do you think of it? Because I've got some opinions
I
on it.
think that it is a great performance by Rami Malek, and
Yeah.
I think that this is the best case scenario for a band that is meddling in their own history, because there is not a single person in the world who would believe that they're the biggest band, one of the biggest bands in the world at the time. And they're going to be like, oh, no, Freddie, we're not going to go party with you. We've got our wives. We've got to behave.
That's bullshit.
Bull fucking shit.
Yeah.
Bull fucking
Yeah.
shit. Those guys were knee deep in coke and hookers.
Yeah, they were.
And
They
just
were.
tits and
They
ass
were.
everywhere.
No, they were. That's fact. They were. You know, because
name a band that isn't.
No,
or
no,
wasn't.
my-
I mean, okay, Motley Crue
Oh, that's
have
coming out too.
have
Yeah.
a Netflix biopic about themselves that they are like co-producing, and this is now developing a very dangerous trend.
Yep.
In that you're getting Hulk Hogan is doing one with Netflix.
What you gonna do, brother?
What you gonna do,
when
brother?
the Hulkamania runs all over you?
Everybody knows that by now Hulk Hogan is a terrible person and a racist and really kind of gross. And he was great.
Yeah.
He was. But he is helping to produce and writing and whatever else a biopic about his life starring none other than Thor himself, Chris Hemsworth. That's right. Chris
a little
Hemsworth is going to be playing Hulk fucking Hogan.
Yeah, I don't believe.
Yeah,
I don't
but
buy that.
But get this. Hogan is writing, is co-producing it, so it's going to be all this nice flowery version of him. It's not going to have any of the dirt.
Yeah.
It's not going to have any of the gross, horrible shit. It's not going to have any reality to
Because
it.
nothing ever went wrong in the WWE.
I mean, that leads to my
back-
next point. Vince McMahon
yeah.
is making his own biopic
I fucking-
about his life, and I guarantee that is not going to have much
I
realism
think we just
in it
changed
either.
the topic. For
Yeah,
this
I
show.
love wrestling. I fucking love it,
Wrestling.
man. Right.
I'm looking forward to in about 20 years' time when they do the Rock biopic, and it's just going to be fucking amazing. And hopefully they'll have somebody like the only person who can play the Rock is
It's
the Rock.
The Rock. Do it now.
So that's the only problem.
Who can play Rikishi to back that ass up?
Oh my god! Yes.
That's right. and the Godfather with a whole train.
Oh yeah, and just Nature Boy Ric Flair. Hello.
Oh,
It's true. It's damn true.
That's
woo.
Kurt
I
Angle.
don't fucking get him.
That's Kurt Angle. But you know what the Nature
Kurt
Boy used
Angle.
to, Nature Boy
He
used to
did the
go,
woo.
He used to go, you know what you're going to learn? You're going to learn what everyone else learns at the Nature Boy. Woo! I used to
What
like.
you gonna do when the Nature Boy Ric Flair comes for you?
I used to like.
Woo!
I used to like.
Gonna have to change the pitch on that. It's a bit high.
It's a bit high.
I used to like Gold Dust.
Oh my god, Gold Dust.
He used to go.
Gold Dust. I liked when it was sort of mid 2000s when the WCW, ECW,
Oh yeah, the
WWE invasion.
Yes.
When Goldust and Booker T teamed up
What?
was just so weird and so bizarre. And you could
Can
tell
you
that
dig that, sucker?
you could tell that they were having so much fun together because they were two completely diametrically opposed wrestlers.
Yep.
Just going fuck it, let's have a great time
Yeah.
and
Let's
we'll
have
give a
some
good
fun,
show.
yeah.
I fucking.
and
I,
they were the weirdest. And for the longest time, I actually thought that Goldust was Ric Flair.
Really?
I thought it was Ric Flair in costume
I can
because you never
see-
saw the two of them
I can
together.
see- I can see it.
You
I
never
can
saw them
see-
together.
Yeah, I
they
can
both
see
had
it.
similar haircuts.
Yeah.
Like Goldust, I think, was a bit taller.
Goldust is quite a big guy.
Yeah,
Really. He's,
but it was this weird,
Yeah.
like 16-year-old brain was like,
Dude, I'll tell you this.
they're the same guy.
I'll tell you the story about wrestling because I loved it. I don't like it now, but
Yeah,
I loved it.
I haven't watched it for years.
Same, right? But I got into it. Pedro got me into it, and this is probably the late '90s when
We even went and saw it.
Yeah, but that's
you go to
later
the
though.
live show?
That's later, dude. I'm talking about Pedro used to live in a place that had cable TV, and we'd actually, this is the story, we'd do kung fu, right? And then he'd say, do you want to come back? This is bullshit. Do you want to come back to my place? We'll have pizza and drink beer and watch the wrestling. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I got nothing better to do. But we fucking, why would you do that after like training and trying to do something better about your life? You just piss it all up the wall.
That's the reward.
We're like 20.
It's like, I've just done 2 hours worth of solid exercise.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drink
eat a
6
fucking
beers
pizza.
and eat a whole fucking pizza and a garlic bread and a Coke.
That's what we did. That Super Simon, that's what we would do.
Sounds amazing.
And not only that,
I cannot complain with
but
that.
then we'd go watch the wrestling, and then he'd. I never knew much about it, to be honest, because I used to watch it as a kid in the 80s
Yep.
with Hulk Hogan and all of that stuff. But then he was watching it when it was WWF,
Yeah.
before it was WWE.
Yep.
And this is
got the
probably
best
just
fucking shirt.
around the era of the Attitude Era. Remember they had the
Oh,
Attitude
yeah.
Era?
That was way before my time. Like, because I got into it sort of
Oh, fuck.
99 to 2002, 2003.
98
Yeah.
was roughly the Attitude Era,
Okay.
right? And that was when you had like Mick Foley, who was Mankind, and he was doing like the Hell in a Cell.
I love
Yeah,
Mankind.
and he had Mr. Socko. Remember, he had Mr. Socko.
Mr. Socko!
Mr. Socko. My God Almighty, what is this? And you had the Dudley Boys. Damn Dudleys! Look at his eyes, King. Look at his eyes. That is a sick, sadistic human being. And I'll never forget, because JR would lose his shit, because
Yeah.
like there was one night.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh my God! And he was all jowls.
That's
and
right.
just
And Triple H dumped the fucking rock into a dumpster, and he goes,
Yep.
What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Find out on
Oh my
Sunday
God.
on pay-per-view." Right?
Nah, I'm sorry.
I fucking-
When it comes to presenters, it is all
JR was the
about.
best.
Nah, man, Jerry the King.
Oh, well,
Jerry the
Okay,
motherfucking
Lawler.
King.
Do you remember?
Lawler.
Do you remember the Taz?
Yes,
Do you remember-
Taz.
do you remember
when
Ta-
he and Michael? What was the little dude?
Shawn
Who-
Michaels.
Shawn Michaels.
No, not Shawn Michaels. There was another the guy that
X-Pac?
Taz.
X-Pac.
No, he wasn't a wrestler. He was an announcer.
Oh, not the
And
King.
Taz was doing the color, and this other bloke, this little weedy dude,
Oh, jeez, I don't know.
was doing the commentating with him.
Oh, Michael. What was his name?
It was Michael.
He wasn't
it was
actually a
Michael.
wrestler.
No, he was just
was
an
a
announcer.
He was an announcer. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about. Michael something.
It's gonna bug me. I gotta look it up.
Yeah. Well, anyway, do you remember that Taz had a feud with Jerry the King Lawler? And so one night at the back, you know how they always had like the garage scenes? One
They were the
night,
best parts
They
of
were the best
wrestling.
part.
The behind the scenes
yeah.
ones.
So one
Those
night,
wonderfully contrived.
yeah, one night, Taz is out there with what? Because I think the King had hurt his leg or something. So Taz had crutches, and he went up to Jerry the King's Lawler's car, and he goes, "Hey Lawler!" And he got the crutches, and he smashes King's car up, and he goes, "That'll be you next, Lawler." But I used to fucking love NWO when Hulk Hogan was a heel.
Oh,
and he
yeah.
was in the NWO, and there was Scott Hall, and there was who else was in the NWO? I got it, Jesus, going back years ago. But the story with my wrestling love is that I went to Pedro's place after doing kung fu, so we did martial arts for years, me and Pedro, and a couple of other friends that we had.
Yeah, myself as well. But anyway,
Later on-
you fucking forgot about me.
No, this is before. Yeah, but this is before.
there?
No.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
No, fuck this guy. Because he fucking wasn't there in the early days. Because I was a fucking brown belt by the time he decided to rock up and
Michael
be a white
Cole.
belt.
Michael Cole.
That's it.
Michael Cole
I was
and
right.
Taz.
Michael Cole and Taz.
And Christ, I haven't seen
That's
this
right.
dude
Michael-
in years, and he looks like he has had so much work done.
Yeah, Michael Cole had
had so much
Michael
work done.
Cole.
Look at
was-
him. Look at him. He's like
Show
a
us.
leather wallet.
Fuck, that doesn't look like
I
him.
know, right? When he was young, this is clearly like the latest version of him. But
Oh,
this is what I remember him looking like. That's him with Taz.
Yeah,
That's what they were.
That was how I remember
That's
it too.
how I remember it.
And later on, do you remember JBL? JBL joined the fucking
yes, of
commentary
course.
team. Yeah, because JBL used to come out in a limo, and he used to come out with a sound of bulls going. "Rrrr." But my story with wrestling, there she goes again, the maid
Hey,
lady.
the maid
She
lady.
won't stop. You know why? She's interdimensional. I believe users come across the news desk here at Infowars.com that the maid lady she is on Twitch to seduce the young men so
Don't
that they
forget to
become.
hashtag that because we want to
Hashtag
get
maid lady.
no hashtag
maid lady.
InfoWars.
Hashtag InfoWars. Fuck, done.
Yeah, well,
We'll
because
just get banned off Twitter as well.
the maid lady, she's seducing young men to try and get their sperm for experiments on the population so that the aliens could take it back via interdimensional travel.
I reckon you need to start writing a blog about all of these fucking bullshit things.
Oh,
I reckon
man.
it'll become bigger than Ben-Hur. Hashtag
What,
InfoWars.
just all
Well,
of the,
you know the problem.
amazing
You're an
theories.
you know
These
what you are?
amazing theories.
I've been thinking about it. You're a suppressive personality.
You're an SP.
You're an SP. Don't fucking start me with a rabbit hole.
Scientology.
No, we got to get back to the wrestling. We've got to get back to the
okay.
wrestling. When you come, it's fucking chaos, Super Simon. So I started.
That's what I
watching-
do. I'm a disruptor.
I fucking love it. But I started watching the wrestling before this little prick turned up to the kung fu fucking quoon that we used to train in. But he did train with us. He did. He's
I remember
very-
throwing you through a table.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So what happened was, let me just tell what happened. We would go back to Pedro's place, and I would watch the wrestling, and Pedro would be sitting there naming all the wrestlers because I didn't watch it since the '80s as a kid, right? And he'd say, "Oh, this is the Undertaker. That's this. That's it, that
love
guy."
The Undertaker.
And then he'd go, "Oh, this guy. His name's Steve Blackman. He's really good." And he actually was a really good. You could Google him.
Which
He
one
was a,
Steve Blackman.
he was a martial artist, but a for real one. And the favourite wrestler we had, and this is a bit of a tragic one, was Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
The Royds
but anyway,
Well, I mean, there was Chris Benoit that killed himself.
Eddie Guerrero?
Eddie Guerrero killed, but he was into some. He was some
bad,
shit.
man. Yeah.
he was a bad dude. And then there was another one. It wasn't Jericho. Jericho was always great.
Jericho's probably
still
he's still
around. Yeah,
around,
he's still
yeah.
around.
But he's wrestling in Japan.
Wasn't
yeah.
Edge? Didn't something happen
Christian
to
and
Edge?
Edge?
Yeah.
Edge got what did he get involved in? Some bullshit as well. You're right. There's some story about Edge. I
think
can't remember what it is.
Probably the strangest and also the funniest was that China,
Oh yeah,
the manliest woman in the world,
yeah. Well, she was
ended up
pumped
doing porn,
Yeah,
Did she?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She did.
and it is
Yeah.
not pretty.
Well, she wasn't pretty. She wasn't pretty
Like
anyway.
she was not pretty, and she sounded like a dude.
Can you imagine JR going, "My God, look at that vagina! This is sick, King! What is that vagina doing to that penis? My God Almighty! Find out on pay-per-view!" You can just imagine.
Oh my god!
Oh my
god!
King!
He swallowed him alive!
Look at the eyes, King!
Look at the eyes, King.
He's a sick, sadistic human being. But, you know, I used to go back to Pedro's place, we'd watch it, and I got right into it, to the point where a couple of years later, I was obsessed by it.
Yeah.
And I got Foxtel just for one thing, and that's to watch
Did we
the
convince
wrestling.
Dad to do that again?
No, I paid for it.
No, okay.
Because I paid for it, and I said to Dad, look, you can watch whatever you want, but just let me watch the wrestling. And it got to the point
God, he
where...
must have thought you were a fucking waste
Oh,
of space.
fucking... Add it to the fucking list. You know what I mean? But Dad would go, yeah, no problem. But you know what? Dad hated it so much that he somehow jerry-rigged a cable that would go into the study.
Yeah, I
remember
remember
that?
that. Yeah.
But here's the best bit, Super Simon. Don't listen to what this fucking prick has to say. I'm going to fucking tell you the story. Because what happened was, this guy would go, oh, that's fucking gay. They're all gay. But not that there's anything wrong with that, by the way, folks. But
Bleep, that's
Hey,
gonna be bleep.
it's 2019. We're progressive. We understand.
yeah,
it's all good.
but not in my house at that time. But anyway,
Not at the time.
But he was saying all that shit. But later on, weeks would go by, and then he'd start paddling his little fat ass into the fucking study where I was watching, because it used to be on.
You
Yeah,
got
let me tell you
addicted.
the story, Super Simon, right? It's
like cocaine.
Don't fucking say. This prick, right, would go, oh, that's fucking shit. And then every week, his little fat ass would get closer and closer into the study, because I would watch the Foxtel, right? And he'd go, one night he just sat beside me and I fucking knew, but I didn't say anything. And you know what he says to me one night? I don't like Triple H. And I fucking knew this prick had been watching it, right? And it was something about Triple H is like, he was coming out with some bullshit about, you know what your problem is? You know, like, you know how they do those interviews?
Wait, was this pre-Stephanie or post-Stephanie?
Pre-Stephanie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because post-Stephanie, I didn't like Triple H.
No, he totally pussed out.
Yeah, totally pushed out.
You got whipped.
He got whipped.
Hey, listen. There's nothing wrong with getting whipped by your boss's daughter.
Yeah, but look, but you know what?
I'd probably even pay to see it.
Okay, I'm going to say now.
The best was the banter that they did around pre and post nose job.
Oh,
for Stephanie.
yeah. But that was Jericho. Jericho used to give
her so much shit.
Yeah,
it was
but
brilliant.
That's what I loved about Jericho. Jericho would give shit to Chris Benoit, call him Dr. Roboto. And he used to give Stephanie shit. He used to go, oh, was that pre or before puppies?
Yeah.
He used to say, because remember King used to go, puppies?
And also, because she got a cans done.
Not just one.
Yes.
Not just once.
No, a couple of times,
because they got bigger and bigger, right? And you know what? She was actually quite an attractive woman before she did all that shit.
Yeah.
And then she had the nose job, and then she had the boobs, and it was silly.
And it was all over.
Yeah.
Doesn't she run the business now?
She does now, yeah. But you know, I know who was a good wrestler was fucking Shane McMahon.
Shane O'Mac.
Shane O'Mac had some awesome wrestling matches. He used to climb remember that fucking tower?
When he jumped
with
off
Kurt
the
Angle.
cage.
Yeah.
And he jumped, no, did he jump through the cage?
He jumped
off
it.
the cage.
Yeah, and he
always put he was the set piece.
Yep.
Whenever he was wrestling
awesome.
in a pay-per-view,
Grew up with
he always had the most outlandish.
But the guy didn't need to, though. The guy didn't
course he
need
didn't
to
need
because the
to.
guy
He wanted to.
But you remember the match where he put Kurt Angle through a glass window?
Oh yeah.
And Kurt Angle went through and he's bleeding everywhere. And JR's like, my God Almighty! Stop the match, King!
There's so much blood!
There's so much blood! Right. And he
blood!
He goes, blood! And the other one was when that chick Victoria came into the wrestling. And she had the black hair, and she used to pretend she was schizo, and she'd scream in the middle.
Oh yeah,
remember
she was weird
because there was Trish Stratus, Stratusfaction, right? And there was Victoria, and Victoria would stand in there, and Jay would go, "You can hear her scream all the way from Arkansas." You can hear the bugs talking from Arkansas. We're live from California, but the bugs are barking in Arkansas.
Didn't George Clooney? No, Stacey Keebler. Keebler, George Clooney dated for a bit.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, and I look,
Stacey and Trish when they came to Australia.
Yeah, I saw them.
It was either a Raw Live or a SmackDown
That's probably the one
Live.
we went to.
And they had
mid 2000s.
It was those two. It was William Regal.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
There was...
We must have been at the same fucking match.
I reckon it was. Was it at the entertainment centre?
Yes, that was the one.
We fucking went.
We were there.
Shut up, that's amazing.
And it was around August.
Yeah,
we went.
Yeah.
So we went. There was, I'd say,
it was
mid-2000s.
the first Australian one that they did. Yeah,
we went. We fucking went.
That was amazing. Yeah, it was a group of us. So it was my brother, a friend of his, and then a couple of
fucking
others.
nerds. Well, but you know what?
We've just unveiled a whole new level of...
I don't give a shit anymore. But you know what?
I've got an awesome... This just to side tangent for a bit. My dad used to be a flight attendant for one of the airlines. And he used to work in first class. And this is in the late 70s, early 80s. Or mid 70s. Anyway. He had Andre the Giant.
Oh, have you seen the documentary about him on Netflix?
So sad.
It's pretty tragic, yeah.
But he had him on the flight. And so my dad, he's like 6 foot-ish. And Andre the Giant had 2 first-class seats to himself. And he walked up and he's like, can I get you anything to drink? He's like, yes, keep drinks coming, because he was a drinker. Everybody knew that. And and it was like my dad... He was pretty starstruck because everybody knew who Andre the Giant was. And he comes up and he's got this meal. And
he was a household name.
And he's got this dinner. And he just puts it down in front of him. And he sort of looks at him and he looks at the meal and he looks at him and looks at the meal and goes, I'm going to get you 2 more of these. And he goes, thank you very much. And he said that he was just the nicest guy. He was super unassuming. He was very calm. And then, because where they dropped him off... He was doing the filming for Princess Bride.
Oh yeah, that is very well liked in that movie. Yeah,
and the scene was like it was after shooting one day, and he was in a pub in I think it was Romania or wherever the hell they were filming, and these guys were hassling him. These guys were hassling Andre the Giant, so they're hassling him, and he's just ignoring it. And then they go out to leave, and they get in their car. The 3 guys, and Andre the Giant comes out and knocks the car over, just pushes it, flips it on its lid. And there was a news report.
Have you seen the documentary?
Like the next day, where it says local men terrorized by giants.
Mate, I'll tell you what we used to do though, because we got really into the wrestling. Like we trained in kung fu for like
long
years,
time. Yeah.
Right? And we got so obsessed by it. There was me, Jason Relaxation, and Pedro.
Yeah.
We'd train at this Quoon 3 times a week. Monday.
Sorry, what's the word you're saying?
Quoon, which is like a dojo.
A dojo. Like this
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I was hearing.
Chinese word.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
So in Kung Fu, you call the dojo a Quoon, right? And you bow to the flag as you enter the Quoon, and you bow as you leave the Quoon. And you
Right.
bow to soon. So if you're a white belt and you see a blue belt, you're supposed to like
Show respect.
show respect. But we would go in there 3 times a week. It was 3 times, wasn't
It
it?
was 3 times a week.
Yeah, most of the time. And we would go there and we'd start pretending we were in the fucking WWF. No bullshit. And we would throw each other into the fucking walls.
Oh, that's
and then
awesome.
one night, Pedro picked up a tin can and threw it on my head. And then someone would be like, "My God almighty!" And we got busted by the owner. And she came around and she's like, "Oh, what are you kids doing?" And we're like, "Oh, nothing." She says, "Well, stop, show more respect, you know, like, what are you doing?" Like, that's...
But then again, when I put you through that table,
Yeah.
Gary goes, "Get up!"
Get up! we used to beat each other to a pulp, and the owner of the Quoon,
Yeah.
he would call us the Smashing Brothers. No bullshit, because we used to fucking throw each other
beat
like
the
big time.
shit out of each other.
Because what you used to do, you used to like.
It's nice to have that sort of dynamic.
Yeah,
It's
but
great.
we probably would train it with each other very rarely because you'd always try and look for a better student. You'd learn more.
Yeah, of course.
And like
You get your ass handed to
you
you.
go, oh fuck, but
But the person who kicks your ass is always going to give you things to learn for next time.
But you'd always try and give that other person, even though they're more technically superior to you and they're more experienced,
Yeah,
a good training session.
absolutely.
Right. So you used to make
That's
them
just
work hard.
common
And I'll never
courtesy.
forget, there was a guy, his name was Chris. He was fucking awesome. He was a 3-level black belt, and I think it was a
wow.
brown belt at that time. And he didn't mind me training with him because he goes, "Yeah, I don't mind you training with me because you'll give me a good workout." Because I used to like fucking, if you had to pretend someone was choking you,
Yep.
I'd fucking choke this prick. Because one night I was choking him because they used to teach you how to get out of a chokehold.
Right.
And you used to put your hands around like his
You gotta-
throat.
Doesn't he grab thumbs and pull, like, twist?
No, if they're coming at you from the front,
Right.
you used to put your arm, like they used to call it the Travolta move. You'd put your arm up and you'd come across
Saturday
like
Night
that.
Fever.
Yeah.
So you'd be like,
Yeah,
up,
and
across,
and I'll never
out,
forget. I put
push.
my hands on around him, and you know what he said to me, mate? He goes, "Mate, treat me with respect. Choke me like you're trying to kill me." And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I want you to fucking like your life depended on me."
Harder, daddy.
Yeah. No. But he was like legit.
Yeah,
I
no,
want
no.
you to fucking kill me. And I got to the point where we became almost kind of like mates around the Quoon there. And he go, "Are you up tonight?" And I go, "Yeah, cool, or whatever." And he'd go, "Right, cool." And if it was a choking or a strangle, I'd fucking give everything I had. And this prick, and I'm not a little like weedy guy, but I'm not tall either.
You're no shrinking violet.
No, but he would throw me around like a rag doll. This prick. He was
And then you'd train with a red sash.
oh fuck.
And they would annihilate.
But
These
they-
are people that have been training for
But
50
they would.
years.
I remember one night training with
That's
a red.
because that's the top tier.
That's beyond black belt.
Yeah.
That's beyond
yeah.
black belt. These guys. I remember training one night
Those
with
are the dudes that can kill you with a spoon.
These
Yeah.
are guys that actually have to go to like Malaysia to get their gradings. Yeah.
But one night I trained with a female red sash, and she was a pretty petite lady.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, she was whipping my ass. It didn't matter how fucking big
Was
she
it
was.
a Chun-Li E Honda type fight?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Spinning bird kick.
Let's start the show as we always started off with a Daniel's Ram. I have one today.
Did we not just do that?
No.
Pottery
Where?
Pottery Pete's just sent me a picture of what
Looks like
it looks like a cock.
Pottery
You got to
Pete.
show that to
You
camera.
know what?
That's
Every-
amazing.
I'm gonna have to put this up on Facebook.
Do it.
Because Pottery Pete has just sent me a pottery
Let me
penis.
tell you something about Pottery Pete. Let me
Pottery
just
Pete.
fucking tell you
Go
something
on.
about Potter. I'm going to fucking rant now because everyone loves Pottery Pete. They think he's the favourite. They think he's...
I mean, the Snake Lady episode with the when you guys had the snake.
Oh,
couple
yeah.
weeks back.
Yeah.
He was there for it. I was like, did he do anything?
no,
Did
he
help?
fucking stood there and he goes, "Let's throw rocks at it."
Yeah, let's throw rocks at
That's
a
exactly what he
a
said.
top 8 most venomous creature in Australia. Sure, great fucking idea.
Well, let me tell you, folks, that
I'm building a little fake rivalry between me and Pottery Pete.
yeah, do it.
He might rock up later.
And you know what?
It's like, this fucking guy.
We've been waiting for this match for a long time. It's Super Simon versus Pottery Pete right here, coming live
pay-per-view.
in Los Angeles.
Do not tell
on
me.
pay-per-view.
I will body slam him through this table.
Fucking oath you
I
would.
will
Tape much.
No, no.
My God
It's
Almighty!
made out of paper mache and toothpicks, right?
Well, look at the budget we're running.
Hey,
on.
man,
What
I'm
are we
happy.
having for lunch? Fucking waffles.
Are you
Hey,
kidding
man.
me? I'm
Mate,
so
Are
thrilled
they
about that.
are they fairy bread
Mate,
waffles?
these are legit. Mate, these are legit Belgian waffles, mate, with yeast
Hey,
in the whole night.
Wait.
Hey, listen.
Can we fairy bread those waffles?
We can.
Hey, listen.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, I'll tell you a little story. This friend of mine, she contacts me. She goes, "You always say that you have fairy bread for lunch. Are they fairy bread stars?" And I'll tell you something about her. I said, "Well, do you cook for your boyfriend?" She goes, "Yeah, I'll make fairy bread stars." I go, "What the fuck?" She goes,
What
"Oh
are
yeah, the
fairy
fairy
bread
bread, but I've got
stars?
like a star stamp."
Oh, right.
And I just
Oh,
and she goes,
jeez.
"It makes it all the better." I go, "Oh fucking darling, what are you
like-
doing?
like a
what are
little-
you doing? What are you doing?"
Society's gone to
Oh, it's just gone to shit.
The whole point of fairy bread is to have the crust.
Yeah.
You got to have the
Exactly.
That's the healthy part.
That's what I used to say.
That's the nutritional bit.
But I want to go back to Pottery Pete. Everyone goes, "Oh, that Pottery Pete, he sounds like an interesting guy." Well, let me tell you, for the two people that are listening, I want to fucking rant today because I'm Alex Jones levels again. I've had like 3 cups of coffee. I'm
the size of his coffee right now.
telling you now, I'm going to hold my piss for an extra half an hour to rant, and I'm going to lose my voice, and I don't care because everyone goes, "Oh, that Pottery Pete, he sounds really interesting." Well, you know your little interesting Pottery Pete, you two listeners that are listening, he just sent Jason a fucking pottery cock. That's how interesting he is.
a pottery pecker, if you will.
That's exactly
Pottery
right.
Becca.
And it wasn't even interdimensional.
That's pretty fucking huge.
It was
Wait, hang on. His name's Peter, right?
Pottery Pete, yeah.
So it's a pottery Peter. Hey.
You can't beat Super Simon for intellect.
You can't. Wait, no chance.
You
Yeah,
can
you
beat
know
him-
what?
You can beat him with intellect.
I'm going to say that this is... Let's set this up like a wrestling match. You know what? You call him out, you go...
Pottery Pete, I'm coming for you,
That's
brother.
right. That's right. You go, "Pottery Pete, you're just afraid to seek the truth. You're a non-believer." But on Sunday at SummerSlam,
On the fourth mic.
on the 4th mic, your head is going to go through this table, Pottery Pete, because you have no answers. You have no answers, and you've got no followers, and no one likes you. All you've got is pottery.
Harsh words, man.
And you know what I'm going to do with that pottery? I'm going to mash it on your head, Pottery Pete.
I was going to say, you could put
It's a
potter-
challenge!
The fucking gauntlet has been thrown.
You know what? He's just going to sit back and he's just going to go, "Oh, whatever."
That's exactly
He's so chilled out. He's like, "Yeah, whatever."
He's like, cool,
Yeah,
man. That's
yeah, cool, man. Yeah, but do I have to really come? It's like I've got things to do. I've got renovations and
No,
bathrooms.
he's procrastinating the best he can.
Is
and
he?
that. Yeah.
Like, he's supposed to be renovating bathrooms and shit.
Yeah, he will come here.
I just fucking
if I
love-
said him, "Hey, come over,"
You know
and
what
be
I
here in
love?
10 minutes.
I fucking love the audio bloke is the one that you can't hear on the microphone. Even the fucking second and third time he was on the podcast, can't hear a word of him. But he's the audio guy. Fuck me. How does that work?
Because he sets it up, he doesn't knock it down.
I know I'm a loudmouth, but I don't. But he's got the thing right up against his head, and he's like, it's almost like sign language trying to listen to him.
It's hilarious because you're so loud, I can hear the snare drum over there rattling because of your voice.
Because I'm fucking pumped up now. I've had a lot of caffeine this
What's
morning.
amazing is that I'm usually known as the loud one.
I know he takes
and
it.
I'm quiet comparatively.
Oh, fuck him round. Because I told you this morning when I got here.
Yeah.
Oh,
hang on. Hang on.
Is
He's
he-
listening. He's live listening.
Yeah, so he's live tweeting. He says it's a solid 9 kilograms of shame.
That says everything, doesn't it?
I do not know what to do with that.
Oh my god.
Well, let's go on with the RAM.
So what's the RAM for this week, my friend?
Well, firstly, I have to introduce it.
Okay.
So it's time, as we always do at this time of the week, we go down the ever-decaying, decreasing, fucked up brain that I have that's got in half a jar somewhere in the fucking city. I don't know where it's gone.
It's gone to those interdimensional aliens.
Part of my brain was taken by interdimensional aliens that walk amongst us, and the actors social elite. They're actors and actresses, and
They're the
one of
squad.
those actors won an Academy Award as Best Supporting Actor or something like this, and I can tell you that they are part of a conspiracy against the people, and all you need to do is to get on Infowars.com, and you will find out the
more
truth.
spruiking for his fucking website than we've done for our own.
Because ours is shit. So you know what? Let's get into the RAM.
Roll it.
Roll it.
Roll it, monkeys. Because last week I was reading, I did the rant. He goes, well, what are you going to do for this one? I go, I don't know. I'm just going to go, roll it, monkey. Love.
Boyfriend 2.
No, it's boyfriend number 2. I'm looking for boyfriend number 1. Where is he?
Shout out to Skater Boy.
I haven't got a phone call, so he doesn't obviously listen, which breaks my heart, but I understand it's a fucking shit show that we're running over here. I'm going back to 1981.
When I was born.
Yeah, I actually think this could even be 1980. I'm not sure, but it's around.
Was I alive or not?
No, it was very well. It was very. I can't remember. But I'm doing this for Super Simon more than I'm doing it for me and you, right?
Thank you. I appreciate
I think this
that.
is very late 1980 because this was around early summer.
Okay, so yeah, it's before.
Yeah, before you were born.
Yeah.
And this is just as we moved into the new house, right? This is a very short RAM, but Super Simon's going to like it. And it is on the fucking bullshit cloud spreadsheet somewhere. I don't know where this fucking thing is. I can't find it. But anyway.
You really have to help him out with that.
I don't want to know. It's going to take me 3 weeks to upgrade from the fucking S8 to the S10.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how that's going to fucking work.
That's
I'm going to be
gonna
without a phone.
really-
He's going to be ringing me going, can't get hold of you, man. And I'm going to go, I don't know. I had a fucking phone. Now it's fucking not working now. I can't remember this shit and that shit.
Can I make a request?
Yes.
That the day that you're doing the upgrade,
You can be here.
no, not just that, do it here.
Yep.
So that we can live film it, because it will literally be one of the most insane, hilarious
All right,
things.
we'll fucking do it.
Just
Done.
the sheer
Done.
frustration factor alone.
Done. Because I'm
will
going to
make it compelling viewing.
Yeah.
Because
We'll
I've
just
forgotten
like-
every password I've ever had.
It's like Facebook. Oh, I don't fucking know. Gmail. I don't fucking know.
Well, the only Facebook I use now is the fan page for the 2 people that listen to this bullshit.
That's
true. Yeah.
I don't use my own one.
I don't use mine either.
Fuck that bullshit.
Unless I accidentally post something on my
Yeah,
own wall.
if it's an accident. But I don't really give a fuck because I'm over looking at people's cats and my own cat, and he stinks, and I'm on fucking bullshit Tinder. But that's another fucking story.
So the only social media, inverted commas, that you use.
Why is that ringing?
I don't know.
Oh, that's a maid lady. She's trying to get a hold of me.
Ooh, ah.
Really?
No, that was someone's
That was a contractor.
you know what that is? I get all these, can you call me because I want to put in a social survey. Have you had this one?
I get heaps of surveys.
Yeah, they
from
go-
the fucking,
Is this fucking Clive Palmer?
Yeah.
Oh, that piece of shit.
Yeah, and he wants and I got a phone call one night and they say, "Oh, do you want to give us your opinion on the social issues?" I go, "You don't want to know my favorite."
It's like, there are many opinions out there. This is
Because
not
the
one
next
you
time
want
I
to share.
get one, I will answer it, but I'm going to do it like fucking.
can you please,
Alex Jones.
I was going to say, can you
Yep.
please do the whole thing as Alex Jones?
Well, the problem that we have is that we've got interdimensional aliens that are walking amongst
can
us,
you record it?
and they look like
Yes.
they look
Yes.
like they look like Diana from V from Victory, and she was fucking smoking hot, but she was a lizard person, and the problem that she was having was that she wanted to conceive a child under duress of the male population. Because the male population was turned gay by the water and the frogs.
So,
this RAM, 1980. I'm saying it's 1980. What's he sending pictures now?
oops.
This fucking podcast is shit.
That's right. I'm going to have to do some editing.
Oh, you got
Still joking about the massive job working that thing between my legs.
Oh, he's kidding, isn't he? Pottery Pete. This is a very short ram.
It's a really big shaft that he's working with. That he's building up.
This is a very short ram.
Go on, ram it up.
This is a ram.
Ram it like pottery pit.
Why don't we do it? But I'm going to do it a bit different. Row, ho, ho, it monkeys. I tried to do the tonight I'm gonna have a real good time. I'm gonna roll, ho, ho, it. And the monkeys are gonna play my theme song. Otherwise they can go get fucked.
Go and get fucked.
You can't.
We can't do that. We'll get me demonetized.
I was gonna say they're gonna fucking ping us for that.
What?
No, they won't.
No,
Our pitch is so far off
Yeah.
that there is no algorithm on the planet that can recognize that
No,
song.
that's right. Or I could do it we could do it Rammstein style.
Can we just get on with the ram?
No, it could be like
Ram.
it could be like this. Tonight I'm going to have a real good time. 1980. We moved into the new house, and this is around the end of the year, so I'm going to say it's around December because it was summer, it was hot.
Yep.
And there's a couple of things that you should remember about Dad when it comes to being hot and coming home from work.
He's got a temper.
You're going to have to bleep this out.
No, I'm not.
He was in a mood. Right?
I still have the Nintendo sound.
Yeah, put that in there. Put that in there. Put that in there, right?
He was frequently in a...
He was in a fucking cock of a mood. Now, here's the thing. When the new house, Super Simon, the new house
Yeah, sorry.
is quite a big place to mow, right?
Oh,
Big lawn.
Yeah. Don't fucking...
It's
Don't...
so big, it's an acre, right? It's an acre. At that point in time, there
That's-
wouldn't have been
No,
any
that's a lot of
landscape.
space.
There wasn't. There was no landscaping.
So it's an acre.
It was a full acre of lawn to mow, right?
Right.
Don't fucking say it because you weren't
No,
there.
no, no. I'm just saying it's an acre
Now,
of land.
he moved... Now, what he really needed
Was a ride-on.
was a ride-on lawnmower to cut all the grass.
He's using a whippersnipper.
No, what he had was a very old Victor push mower.
Oh.
Right? Now,
Wait,
he-
electric or not?
no, it was
there was no
petrol.
such thing as
No,
electric
this is
back
fucking...
then.
Oh, sorry.
It's 1980. There was
Motorized. I meant not a
no
manual one.
self-propelling,
Petrol.
Yeah, old
Okay,
school.
cool.
Petrol, but it was fairly old, right? And so what he was doing was trying to cut this entire acre of grass
Yep.
in the heat. And I remember watching him do it because I was too little. I was only about 5 anyway. Mm-hmm. And he was he had his shirt off. He wasn't sun smart. Sun's beating down on him.
He's
right?
fairly dark, but this made him darker.
This made him darker. And he's pushing the lawnmower. Now he gets to this bit of grass because where they
It's men of that generation. They're like, it's fucking fine. I'll be fine.
Well, it's Sicilians of that
They don't
generation.
give
They
a
gave
fuck,
zero
mate.
fucks.
Didn't give a fuck. But the bit because they're on septic. They're not on sewage. So where
Oh,
the
wow.
septic tank is, still
Jeez.
We're not either.
Really? How about that?
fucking third.
Sorry,
world.
I'm living in the first world.
Now
I'm,
we're
I'm not used to this
we're
third world
third
bullshit.
world country, mate. Where the pipes were for the septic tank, the grass tended to get really thick there for some reason.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah, because of all the shit. So he's
And they had the hose because the hose. used to
yes,
come out.
right. He used to have the hose. Yeah,
yeah.
he used to pump out all the overflow onto the
wow.
grass.
Yeah,
right?
but it was
yeah.
by that stage it had been decomposed,
Yeah.
whatever it does,
Yeah.
and then it goes out
Yeah.
as you
But-
still wouldn't drink it.
No,
It's
you
not-
wouldn't. No, it stunk, and it stunk literally like shit. It was like fucking Bondi in the 80s, mate. Like, you know, remember in Bondi they used to have the shit?
Yes.
Literally, it fucking kills me today that all these backpackers come over here and they
it's
think
like
Bondi.
pristine.
They think Bondi is the shit. I'm telling
It
you
was
now,
literally.
in the 80s they used to pump the shit literally. And you remember Caddyshack in
Yeah.
the pool and the fucking
the
shit?
duty.
That was fucking Bondi Beach.
Dude, we still to this day have this expression in my house. Whenever you flush something down the toilet, like a cockroach or a goldfish or whatever, you say, well, we're sending it to Bondi.
Yeah,
sending it to Bondi.
sending it to Bondi. That's a cock of a beach. Anyway, he's cutting through this grass,
Right.
and this lawnmower was not having it.
Gotcha.
It had had enough. And Dad's gone, fucking mower, fuck this shit, fuck, right? And he's pushing it, and he starts it, it stops, then he starts it up, cuts a little bit more, it stops, and he goes, fuck, and he gets a little bit further, and then he hears, fuck, you hear a bit more, fuck, and he's, fuck, and he's fuck, right? Then he fucking lost it because it was one of those old ripcords, it wasn't like a key one, right? And so then he goes, that's it. And he goes, and I'm watching him, and he goes into the...
Sets it on fire.
No.
It gets worse.
No, it gets worse. Don't say nothing. He goes into the garage, and he gets a fucking sledgehammer.
He went full Office Space on it.
He goes up to the mower, and I quote, I'll fucking show you and he gets a fucking sledgehammer and he beats this fucking lawnmower, right? And the lawnmower, the pieces are flying off in the air, right? They're going everywhere, right? But that wasn't enough for him. And he goes, and he picks it up and he because he's quite a strong guy. He's not a very big guy, but he's strong. And he picked it up and it must have been hot as well, but he didn't give a fuck. And he's shaking it.
He was just full of Hulk rage.
He's picking the lawnmower up and he's looking at the mower, if it had an eye, dead in the eye, and he goes, "I'll fucking show you who's boss, you." And you know what he does? He goes to the front street, right? And there was no cars back then. It was fucking no cars. It was like 2 houses in the street. We were one of them. And he gets the fucking lawnmower and he throws the thing on the street and it shatters and he goes, "Cop that, you fucking." And then he gets a sledgehammer, right, on the middle of the road, and he's beating the fuck out of this lawnmower and goes, "I'll fucking show you. I'll fucking show you." And then Mum comes out. Your mum comes out and she's like, "Don't mention the name."
Why? It's not his real name anyway. Frank!
She comes out.
Right, because he's raised dad.
And he comes out and she says, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm fucking showing it. I'm fucking showing it who's boss." And Mum goes, "What are you doing? You can't get..." Because she points to me, she goes, "You're setting a bad example for him." "No, I'm fucking showing him who's fucking boss. Fuck this lawnmower.
I'll show him what he does if
and
he fucks
he's
with me.
in the middle of the road with a fucking sledgehammer and he's beating this lawnmower to a fucking pulp. There are bits of fucking lawnmower everywhere. Everywhere. Right?
It probably still is.
Right, everywhere. Right? It's fucking gone
embedded in
everywhere.
the road.
It's fucking everywhere, right? And then he picks it up off the road and he fucking throws it, and to this day they don't even have gutters there. Right? So
It's just road.
It's just road.
It's literally
And he's
just
just
road,
fucking thrown it on the side of the road and goes, "I'll come back for you later." And he walks off. And then Mum goes, "Have a cold shower, settle down. But there was no fucking stopping him. When that blood fucking went, it's like me, mate. When the fucking blood goes, that Sicilian blood goes, fuck everything. I'll fucking turn over tables, you know what I mean?
The funny thing is, it's not an unusual occurrence.
Oh, he did other shit, you know what I mean? And the best bit, while I want to continue the lawnmower stories on, later on he got a ride-on lawnmower. He got a Greenfield, right? And then he goes, when we got old enough, he goes, "Cut the fucking grass." All right. And when I get home, I expect it fucking done. All right, fine. So you get on there. But we used to do burnouts in it.
Of course.
Right? So there'd be all these track marks.
Here's kids given essentially a vehicle that has blades on it.
Yep.
What could possibly go wrong?
We're under 10 at this point.
Mate, I was fucking 8. I was about 8 years old. I'm on a lawnmower, right? And he'd come out.
Fucking right.
I'm not fucking.
We're not joking, man. I was out there doing the pushy at 10.
He was doing the pushy at 10. I was on the ride on at 8. And he'd come out and go, and he'd see the fucking bird, because he'd go, "I'm going to go up to the shop and get something. When I get back, I expect this to be done." And he'd give you pocket money. He wouldn't rip you off.
No, he did.
But you know what? When the grass was a bit wet and I'd done burnouts, he'd go, "What the fuck is this? What the fuck have you done to my fucking grass? Fucking Jesus Christ." That'd be the first thing. The second thing was, if he'd be home, right, later on as the years went on, the trees got bigger and the roots got exposed.
You fucking hit the roots.
So you had to raise the fucking lever up to
so you didn't bust the blades.
So if you didn't, you hear this right, because the blades would be hitting the roots. If he was inside having a cup of tea or something, he'd run out going, "What the fuck are you doing? I just replaced the blades on the mower. What the fuck?" Right? That'd be the fucking first. But here's the best bit. you had to do push mower and ride-on lawnmower. Because later on, he put turf out the back because the grass wouldn't grow there for some reason. So we put turf out the back, and you had to use the push mower for that. Right, now get ready for this.
Wait, he didn't do concrete out the back?
No,
He's not that Italian.
no, he's one of those hippie wogs. Because he liked the grass, like the bush.
Wait, he liked the grass? He said he was a hippie.
No, fuck no. He's got fucking radical views on that shit too.
Mate, he is, somewhat anti.
Gotcha.
He's quite conservative, our father.
Oh fuck, he's right wing.
Oh mate, he's as right as they go.
He's right.
So he's Alex Jones.
Almost. No, we've got one uncle who is.
No, Alex Jones is a little bit more radical than that, but Dad equals Alex Jones sometimes when he's ranting. But he'd come back, and one day I had to cut the grass on my own, and I've done the turf, but
You skated it. You did it on the right.
No.
I've done that a couple. I got in so much trouble.
No. I got into trouble for this. This is a minor offence, but I got in the.
Oh yeah.
So he'd show you. He'd go, now listen. When you do the turf, I want it done at level 4. I don't want it done at level 3. So on the push mowers there were like different levels. Yeah. I want it at level 4, so a little higher up because you'll burn the grass. Well, one day I did it at level 3, and he fucking was so good. He knew, and he'd come home and go. You fucking did it level 3, didn't you? I fucking know you have. And I go, well, what?
He's out there with the ruler.
No. You know how he knew? He was like a fucking greenkeeper at a golf course. He fucking knew everything. He goes, look, I know you're fucking done level 3 because look, you've burnt the fucking grass. It's all white. Now it's fucked. Now it's all fucked. And I got a fucking Jesus fucking Christ. And he'd
be out there with the hose.
He'd get the hose and he'd try and water it to save it. And he goes, you fucking killed my grass. Fucking Jesus Christ. If I want something done, I'll fucking do it myself.
This hasn't changed.
This is how you get away with doing things
but
as a kid.
Yeah, but not only that.
If you don't do something well and not get paid for it.
Well, it's like I've always been told at work, always make a shit cup of coffee for people.
Yep.
And then they'll never ask you to make another cup.
But here's the best bit. Here's the best bit. One day I got him back. This is beautiful. Because we had this old Greenfield ride-on lawnmower, right? And he'd say, do the grass, whatever.
Yep.
And you'd have to start it up. Now, the Greenfield ride-on lawnmower didn't have a key.
Right.
It was a pull one. Right?
Oh, wow.
It was...
Mate, even my mower down here's still a fucking...
It was pretty...
quality,
it's pretty... But
That's
this...
a ride-on.
Yeah, but this is
No,
like...
I don't have a ride.
But this is like an old...
Right-on.
But this ride-on was old, man. It was like 1980 sort of ride-on.
I think his new one is still a...
No, it's key.
It's key.
Yeah, it's a push button.
Yeah.
It's got a battery in it. But this one was like a pull one. I couldn't start it. And it was actually, even he later, many, many years later would admit it was hard to start, right? But on this one...
But not when you were kids.
Not when I was a kid. No, and I couldn't start...
Why can't you get this fucking thing started?
He came out one day and he's like, oh, for fucking Jesus fucking Christ. He goes, what are you, fucking pussy? And he'd come out and he'd go... And then he'd start it. And mind you, I'm fucking...
I'm only 10.
Yeah, I'm only 10. And he'd fucking pull it and he goes... And he'd start it first going, he goes,
of course.
Well, how fucking hard was that? And then he'd walk off. He fucking...
Meanwhile, he gets into the house, he's like, fuck, I just broke my arm.
Oh, mate. But you know what? Many years later, only last week when I talked to him about, different things, he was saying to me, yeah, that mower was a bitch to start. And I'm like, well, fuck, mate. Why didn't you give me some leeway at the age of fucking 10 when I'm trying to fucking start?
Because I made you a man, didn't I?
Mm-hmm. Oh, Jesus Christ. I've got plenty of other stories. Yeah, I'll tell you another I made you a man story. Ready?
Go on.
When I first got my...
Wait, is this safe for publication?
Yeah. Right? No. This is classic Dad, right?
Sorry.
This is a mini side ram.
Go on.
Right? I'd fucking just got my license, right? And I'd gotten I got the Gemini.
I'm going to put a photo of that up
which
today.
is awesome, right?
Nice.
Yep.
So Dad was...
This is the green one, yeah?
Yep, I've got the photo.
So Dad did the right thing, I think, in my opinion, but this is how he did it. He goes, all right, I'm going to show you once, maybe twice, how to change the oil in this thing, change the air filter, and to change a fucking tyre. Because no son of mine is not going to be able to change a fucking tyre.
Absolutely.
All right? So you know what? He showed me once or twice, and then one day I'm ready to go out, and I found my car on fucking blocks with 4 wheels off it. And he goes, Fix it.
Well, he did this.
He fucking did it. So we're not... because he...
That's actually awesome.
Because he's gone.
Really good.
He's gone. Well, you think you know how to change a tyre, now you have to under pressure. There you go. There's 4 fucking tyres off it. Go fix it. If you want to go out, put the fucking tyres on it.
He's like, I'm supposed to leave in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was ready to go out. I was ready to go out, right? And he goes, well, if you want to go out, there's 4 tyres are off. I go, there you go. I'm like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
I'm
And I found the
100%
fucking gem.
gonna remember
I
that.
found the fucking Gemini on blocks up in the garage with 4 wheels off it.
Do you know what's funny? We still get in heaps of shit when we spin our wheels going up the driveway.
Oh, yeah, to this day, yeah,
we
'cause
both drive cars that have got a bit of kit.
he's got this gravel driveway, and if you
Oh, yeah.
accidentally skid, he goes, oh, but fucking gravel!
It's all over the grass. It's going to
grass.
fucking fly everywhere.
Or if it's been raining and you park on the grass because you got nowhere else to park,
Yeah.
don't fucking park there, it's my fucking grass!
This is so true.
I'm not making any of it up.
I really want to meet your dad.
Because you'll act
He'll
normal
come
around
out
it.
one day,
No,
it'll be
he'll act
hilarious.
normal. No, this is what he
He'll
does.
act normal to
he
you.
acts normal, and you go, what, you're full of shit. But you don't fucking know that.
What you need to do is get him on here with just the two of you,
I'll tell you a story.
and then I'll come in halfway through,
No.
so I can be listening at the door.
Now, I'll tell you a
and
story.
Be like glass to the door. It's like this guy's fucking nuts. It's amazing.
I'll tell you, he slipped up. Because remember my 40th?
I've got photos of that too.
Okay, my 40th. He was talking to my mate, the Weapon, who's going to come on at some stage. And because I told Dad stories to the Weapon, he goes, oh, I can't wait to meet this bloke. Anyway, the Weapon comes up to me halfway, he goes, mate, your dad's not like what you say. I go, well, he's on his best behaviour today, I'm telling you.
Mum's pulled him aside.
and then 2 hours later, he came up to me and goes, your dad's on fire. I go, why? He goes, well, he's gone up. He goes, because the Weapon's into the natural fruit and growing and all this stuff. So Dad's got fruit trees, right?
Right.
Anyway, the Weapon's gone. The old man, he's gone.
Pesticides
He's
and stuff.
I get ready. He goes. Do you grow much fruit? He goes. Dad's gone, well, I would like to, but the fucking cockhead next door with his fucking fruit fly and he doesn't spray. Fuck him. And he went off. He goes, he's a fucking cockhead. He doesn't prune his fucking trees. He doesn't use pesticides on his trees. And I can't grow fucking fruit. Fuck this prick. And the Weapons come back. He goes, he's gone off. He goes, everything you've said's true. He lost his shit. And then when he was ranting, he didn't realise the Weapon was standing there, and he's turned around to the Weapon and he's gone, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to swear. And the Weapon's gone, no, it's all right. It's fucking awesome. But he was on his best behaviour, and then he fucking bottled it all up. He can only bottle it for so long, and then he fucking loses it. He fucking loses it. But the best thing is when Jason Relaxation's kids are over there, right? He's on his best behaviour around the kids, but then after a while, he goes, oh, for fuck's sake!
Then he forgets.
Can't you fuck? He'll say to the little kids, he'll go, oh, can't you fucking work it out?
It's so funny. Except for the daughter. She controls.
Yeah,
him.
he's got no idea around her because he didn't grow up with girls.
Yeah, he had
obviously,
boys.
Right? He had boys, and he had sisters himself. But by the time they came along, he was a lot older than them.
Right.
And he's never dealt with them. So when his granddaughter goes over there, he's got no idea what to do with her. Right.
And she plays
him like a fiddle, man. He's got no idea what to do with her,
that's so good.
But with the oldest, like with his grandson, he's like, oh, for fuck's sake, man up. You know, when he fucking falls out, well, man up, for fuck's sake, walk it off.
I love it, like with the billy carts and stuff. Oh, you need to change the tyre, for fuck's sake. Hasn't your dad shown you how to do this shit yet?
Hasn't he put it up on blocks?
You know, the best thing was it last week or the week before, he found out that he's worn out the tyres on his billy cart already, and he goes, well, what are you fucking doing with it? The kid's like fucking 10. He's fucking demoralised around him. And then Mum comes out and goes, will you stop swearing around the kids? And then we get in the shit because Mum goes, oh, you've got potty now. So I go, well, we raised $188 for charity the other week. It wasn't that fucking bad. You know what I mean? Well, that's my ram. I'm spent. 1980, I saw a lawnmower get absolutely fucking destroyed on a street. That's a true story. As well as my Gemini being hoisted in the air by fucking, powers that be that wanted me to prove that I could change a tyre.
Like, just extending that ram a bit. I remember there was one time when I was trying to, I don't know, water the garden or do something in Mum and Dad's house, and the hose fitting kept popping off.
Oh, yeah, that's another one.
The hose fitting kept
or the
popping
hose would kink.
Or something like that. So the hose kept popping off. So I lost my shit, which for me doesn't... fucking Wharf.
Settle down.
Which doesn't happen as often as it does with you and Dad.
Wharf.
But I lost my shit. So I fucking smashed this hose ending, right? So the nozzle thing. Dad comes out and he goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he saw that I'd smashed the shit out of the hose ending. And he goes, "Did it make you feel better?" And I've gone, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, fucking go buy another one!"
Because when Dad's smashing,
And then you drive out of the driveway. He's like, "I'm so fucking proud of that kid."
Because when Dad was beating up his lawnmower, Mum says, "What are you doing?" And Dad goes, "I'm fucking showing it to his boss. It's an inanimate object, and I won't let it beat me. Fuck it." And then he'd blame whoever. Then he'd look up where it was made, and he goes, "Fucking Japanese, they're fucking me up." Like he'd blame it on everyone. Yeah, and even like I told the story last week. If something breaks, where was it made? Fucking China.
He says he'll look right in my wife's eyes.
He goes, it does.
Sorry, I'll edit the name.
This is your fucking fault.
Where the fuck was it made?
He does, man. He goes off. Man. He can't. But I told the story when he was working on Mum's Datsun 1000,
that's so
and he'd be fucking like pulling off the head to try and change the head gasket on there because it would blow a head gasket.
You get the hammer out.
Well, no. What he'd do, or he was changing the
Percussion therapy.
or he was changing the fan belt.
Passive maintenance.
He changed the fan belt or something, and anyway, he'd nick his knuckles while he was changing the fan belts or whatever he was doing working on the car, and he'd go, "Fucking Japanese, fucking getting me back for losing the war, the fucking Oh mate, you got no idea what he'd say. It was insane. You're gonna have to do a lot of editing.
There's a lot of bleeps.
We're gonna have so many beeps this episode.
Oh,
It's
mate.
gonna take me forever to edit this fucking thing.
That's the Ram done. Topic of the show, folks.
Are we even? Wasn't it wrestling? I've lost track.
I think we've done the wrestling.
Shall we take a bit of a squiz as to how long this?
Yeah, how long we been recording this
What does it
bullshit?
say there? I can't see.
1 hour. I've
where
been
are we
looking on
looking?
my clock as well. 1
Where
hour.
is it?
1
Oh,
hour.
yeah, exactly 1 hour and 1 minute.
Let-
All right.
So we're doing good. I just have to say though that I bet the day that he destroyed that lawnmower was a really slow news day. I was like, and in local news, a man went absolutely
No, this is
bananas
back in the
and
time.
destroyed his own lawnmower.
But Super Simon,
Behaviour was accepted back then.
Expletives were
I'm
deleted.
telling you the truth.
But here's
right?
a transcript.
No. But people won't believe this, right?
Morse code.
Where we lived,
It spells in Morse code.
but where
There's one more point.
we lived, there was nobody.
Oh,
And
it's
you
no
could
one.
do whatever you
Yeah.
wanted, man. And you would
We
very
often
rarely
did.
see a car.
Yep.
It got actually used to leave the driveway there, and you wouldn't even have to look left or right to see who was coming because there was no cars.
Now there's two problems.
Now-
Our
now-
cars are both too low and we can't
yeah.
get out the
Now
driveway.
you have now,
And second of all, there's cars everywhere.
there's cars. But you couldn't do it now.
Yeah.
Right. And the neighbours would dob you in and all sorts, but there were no neighbours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So they've lived in the same place.
Yeah.
for-
They've been there for over 40 years now.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
they've been there for a long time. And so they moved there for, I think it was in 1980, they moved there. I was about 5. And it was, I'm telling you now, there was no one there.
Yeah.
Nobody. And it was very remote. And I told this story last week where our town was one town in a series of remote towns in that part of
Yep, when
the
we
world.
went storm chasing because we were scared of aliens. Yep, for those that were listening.
No one listens to this bullshit.
I
So-
haven't caught last week, so I'm going to.
Well, of course you wouldn't. Cause
Listen to it on the way home.
Last week's was actually pretty funny.
For us, for our low standards, it wasn't bad. Because we have pretty fucking poor standards. Topic of the show, we want to talk about peripherals.
Yeah, and the reason for this is because
Not we should define what a peripheral is
something
because
that plugs into something else.
yes, a penis
Like what-
plugging into a vagina.
It's like what Pottery Pete's, it's like what Pottery Pete's building.
yeah,
Potty repeat?
It's a
that's what I-
peripheral.
That's
It's a very
that's what I
large
just said. Putting that in. Imagine putting that into China. My God,
Probably wouldn't have feel it.
she wouldn't. She'd be like, "Are you there? What are you doing?"
It's like hot dog down a hallway.
Or she'd look at you. She'd go, "Have you got a pimple between your legs?"
It's a fucking 9-kilogram cock.
I tell you what, you've got a problem. I tell you what, you got a problem when you face your camera on your doodle.
Yeah.
And you know how you got Google Camera or Bixby Vision or whatever it is?
And it says pimple.
It says cyst. You're fucked. I did that one night. He's fucking
Broken.
him up. Fucking him up. I told you! I knew the coffee would kick in! I'm fucking up for immigrants now!
I'm gonna piss my pants.
I make Alex Jones look good. Alex Jones just goes, interdimensional beings. I am fucking more than he is now.
Mind you, you've drunk a litre of coffee.
Oh, fuck. Well, we've got half an hour and I'm
and it
busting
wasn't
for a
weak
piss.
coffee, audience. There was 4 shots in that
I'm busting for a piss, so we've got to wrap this up in about 20 minutes.
So peripherals.
Peripherals are devices that attach to other devices, and
So what's
but we're not talking printers, we're not talking joysticks,
although we
because
could.
they are peripherals.
No, we could, but not now.
No,
That's in a that'll be a future one. But the reason for this is because I really want to get an Oculus.
I don't know why you wouldn't go for a HoloLens.
Yeah, because I want to play
but what can you
fighter
do?
jet games.
What can you do with HoloLenses?
The new HoloLens is pretty sweet.
Absolutely
it's
no
augmented
idea.
reality. It's
No
augmented.
idea.
Yeah,
Different concept.
but there's no entertainment value attached to that at the
No,
moment.
it's pure. Mostly for it. The HoloLens is educational, corporate usage stuff like has its own use case. Totally. For me, I want to play high end flight simulation.
You want fully immersive VR.
I want fully immersive, hardcore VR, so I can be part of the PC master race.
What
You're
about-
a fucking nerd. Why don't you
what
do your
about the
taxes on it
HTC
as well?
Vive? How do they compare?
Vive is more expensive,
Really?
significantly.
But I would have
Okay.
thought that would be better for a gaming
no,
perspective.
the nerds on the Reddit.
Well, they're all nerds if they're playing PCs.
The nerds on the Reddits, or
do your fucking
they
tax.
all have the Oculus, right? So for me, and that kind of started it off, and then Simon here reaches out and he's like, well, wouldn't it be an interesting topic for us to look at some of the more obscure peripherals that have been released over the gaming decades?
So there's a few that I remember being just pants on head insane.
Oh, there's
just
quite a few.
absolutely bananas. One of which, so we were talking about this before the show.
Well, I just want to
go for it.
preface this. Hold that thought. I believe, and I think we could
Oh, yes, of course, sorry.
substantiate all of this with the fact that peripherals 9 times out of 10 in the video game industry have not lasted and have not worked.
They haven't landed.
Right, they haven't landed.
Yep.
And that's why 9 times out of 10, a peripheral has failed. And that's why I'm still, if you're talking VR, I'm still skeptical about VR because I know Sony says different. I know Facebook, they own Oculus, don't they? Who owns Oculus?
Facebook.
They will
Facebook
say-
owns Oculus.
they will say different.
HTC own the Vive, and then there's another. Is there another like consumer level one?
Not that I know of. They're
It's
the
just
main
oh no,
place.
there's the Lenovo,
The Lenovo thing.
which
yeah.
looks like a HoloLens, but that's not.
Yeah.
The only thing I know that for is the lightsaber.
But to
challenge.
me, I have said, and I'll go on record as saying it, that I think the last roll of the die, the most consumer-friendly one is the PSVR, the Sony PlayStation.
Price point, all
Right.
those things. Yeah.
But
price point
I
plus
even
games
feel,
plus accessibility
yeah.
but I even feel
plus
that
hardware.
I even feel that that's probably not landing as a mass market device that even Sony probably secretly fancies because I think the last count was they've sold about 3 million, maybe 4 million headsets.
Is that all?
Yeah. It's
Wait,
not-
of first gen or second gen?
they've only got one model.
No, so there's two now.
No.
So there was a second one that they were releasing that's got built-in headphones.
Oh yeah, but they're pretty
But that-
much the same.
Wasn't that a?
But they're not
spec?
calling. They're not calling it.
Oh, so it's still just the same.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
right, gotcha.
Yeah, the rumor is that PlayStation VR version 2.0
Yeah,
will be a device that comes out later on with the PS5.
gotcha.
All right, and that's more likely to have. This is speculation that it's got wireless or less wires attached to it, whereas at the moment it's an absolute debacle. You feel like an octopus playing with a headset. But they've only sold, rough count, between 3 and 4 million headsets, maybe as much as 6. I've got it. You probably
think
have to Google
about
it.
how many PS4s are out there.
Well, they're saying nearly 100 million now.
Yeah.
So
and,
that's-
and
that-
to have only sold, and I know
Still at
that
4%.
I
It's
know
fuck
the
all.
time difference. Obviously, the PSVR has come out much later since the
Yeah.
PS4 has come. The PS4 has been out since 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been out. It's had a really good run so far, but their attach rate is garbage.
It's terrible. But I believe that Sony. I used to say, and I know I'm sidetracking here, but I think it's important that we talk about why peripherals, even in the modern era, haven't landed before we start talking about examples of peripherals. Sony are probably going to go a bit more deeper into it with the PS5 because the rumors are that they're going to have the integrated post-processing unit included in the device.
Right.
So that when you buy a PS5, technically it's PSVR ready.
Gotcha.
Whereas today it's not. right? You've got
The
to.
Pro is though.
No, it's not. You've got to attach the post-processing unit to the Pro.
And I can tell you now, as someone who has set that up several times, it's a fucking
It's a pain in the ass. And look, Sony made a bit of a meal of it as well, because initially there wasn't HDR throughput supported with a post-processing unit. There is now. They did a firmware update for it, but when it first came out, if you had a HDR-capable TV, you had problems with HDR-enabled content if you weren't playing the VR unit.
Right.
Because the idea was you kept the post-processing unit
attached
the whole time.
Yeah.
and you
So this is like the Nintendo 64 expansion pack.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
always there. It's always attached.
Because
So it's like an eGPU.
Yeah, basically.
So
That's
it gave you
amazing.
because back in those
See,
days,
I had no idea about this.
I'll show it to you later.
Yeah, so that post processing unit, I'm not sure from a technical perspective what it actually does, but it does do some processing on top of the PS4's capabilities.
Cool.
What they're saying is that's going to be incorporated in the PS5. And initially I said, I think that's a mistake because that's kind of like the Kinect, which I want to talk about later on. That they were ramming that down everybody's throat like Microsoft
No, I don't
did.
think that's what- I don't
But I'm wrong. I actually think.
Can I please finish?
Yeah,
Let me
can I,
finish.
finish.
because you interrupt me all the time, you fuck.
Oh, you interrupt everyone. Fuck you.
It's my fucking show, and
Can I please finish?
Yeah, can I please finish, Madam President? I want to just say that I think that that's actually not a bad idea now. That they do include the post-processing unit internally if they do that with a PS5.
The reality is, though, if it makes the console better and it's not an external thing that needs to be plugged in or added on, then why would it be bad? Like, how could it be bad if it's going to make the usability of the new console better?
It would be bad if they're going to charge an extra $50 because it increases their production cost like they did with the Kinect. Right?
But it's
will it?
that's
So-
going to have to be one of those costs that they eat if they're going to.
Well,
one would assume. And you know what they say about assumptions and being the mother of all fuckers.
Well, let's use Microsoft as an example with the Xbox One.
Yep.
Right. The
and
Kinect.
and the here open wired Kinect.
Exactly right. So the Kinect cost approximately $100 US.
Yeah, it was like
to
200
manufacture,
Australian.
right? And because of that, Microsoft made a decision to put in a weaker GPU into the Xbox One, but they also couldn't absorb the cost of what they decided to do, and it was an extra $100 more expensive than the PS4, which actually was more powerful than the Xbox One.
Correct.
So, my concern about Sony,
And it had an internal power supply.
Yeah,
which
there was-
which to this day still fucking kills me
Yeah.
that they could not do that when Sony have done it from day
day
one.
one, yeah.
From PS1.
Yep.
From original PlayStation,
Yep.
they had an internal GPU, and Xbox has always had this enormous
Power
fucking. It literally looks like a brick.
The Xbox One S and the Xbox One
They
X,
have it in-
they've
they've
rectified
got
that,
it
and
now.
they look amazing.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is,
Instead of figure eight cable,
Microsoft couldn't absorb that cost.
Yeah.
From a manufacturing perspective, but they wanted to give everybody a Kinect and ram it down their throat.
Yeah.
And my concern initially when I heard the rumors about Sony putting in a VR post-processing unit into the PS5, my thinking was, and I don't know the internal details, but my concern was, well, that must increase the production manufacturing costs of the unit.
Yep.
Does that mean that Sony either A, has to charge more at retail to get their money back, or does that mean they've sacrificed processing power in some way? And we don't know, right? Because we don't know at the time of the
That's a variable that we will find out.
we will find out, but
when
my
it's
concern
announced.
is that I personally, as much as I do like VR, when I've played VR, I don't know if it's going to be worth the gamble. I think VR's dead.
But
I really do.
potentially, the other route that they could go is by making the existing PlayStation VR headset no longer backwards compatible when they go to PS5.
That would be a
That
disaster.
would
I know
piss
it would
off
be.
Yep.
so
that would
many
be a
people.
disaster.
I know it would be, but
They did it with the
potentially-
Kinect as well.
Well, if you look at the way the hardware could be designed, and I haven't researched the hardware, but it could just be adding to the existing GPU unit. So it's like the way that the Oculuses of the world actually work. It's just feeding off
I
your
really think-
graphics card. It's
I
not
really
actually
think-
They're
increasing-
essentially just a screen that you wear on your
Sony
face.
seems to be of the opinion that they're going to basically be backwards compatible for everything. There's rumors they're going as far back
is
as
good.
They're going. There's a rumor, big fuck off rumor that they're going to incorporate backwards compatibility all the way back to PS1 with the PS5.
That'd be unreal.
Does that mean I can play Max Payne 2?
That means you can play PS3 games
if you
on
can
your
score
PS5.
a copy of it?
But
I am genuinely erect from that. That's
but that is a
amazing.
massive rumor, right? But there's apparently a patent that they've put on.
If that turns out to be true, I'm going to knock this table over with
Yeah,
my
mate,
erection.
I think that's a game
That
changer.
is just fantastic.
But that's a massive game changer, Super Simon.
Absolutely.
Right.
That means that you can play the whole nostalgia thing that everybody is fucking capitalizing on nowadays.
Like us in the podcast.
Like us in this goddamn pod. Like, look at all
Well,
this shit. Like, that is such a clever fucking move if it's true.
I think Sony have been caught out by the nostalgia wave that's hit this generation, which is when Microsoft had the ability of putting backwards compatibility on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
I think Sony were kind of taken aback by that because they went, that's a nice feature, but no one uses it.
And then
that may be
used
true.
it.
Yeah.
That may be true, but I'll tell you what, I quite like it because when I put in an Xbox 360 disc that's now supported on backwards compatibility program on the Xbox One, and I don't have to pull out my Xbox 360. And not only that, by the way, they've up-resed it, they've put better frame rates into
New
it, then I'm
processing.
fucking happy. And I,
full 60 frames.
you know, I would love the ability to
amazing.
put in a PS3 game and play that on a PS5, but I don't know if it's going to happen, and no one does, right? And I think that's a bit of a pipe dream.
From a physical medium perspective, it makes sense because Blu-rays are still Blu-rays are still Blu-rays.
Well, they've got to incorporate the emulation of a. See,
That's it. You have to have the OS
the
of the
OS.
original system.
Yeah, but the fuck up
on there
is
as well.
it's even more fucked up. The fuck up is that the cell processor is so alien even today.
Yeah.
That they've somehow got to put an emulator into a x86 based machine, and I'm not smart enough to understand what that actually means. But the rumor is they've put a patent in that allows some form of emulation.
Don't put it back in, or it'll fucking
No,
through.
I won't.
Yeah.
But this thing right here, which I love,
you're
I
holding up
absolutely,
you're
I'm
holding up
holding
the
this
Holding up,
to the
she's
Switch.
holding up the Switch.
The thing that and it still baffles me to this day, is that Nintendo have never, with the exception of some Wii games on the Wii U, they've never gone backwards.
They have with Virtual Console.
No, but never N64. Never GameCube. There was a couple of GameCube games. There was, they did the Metroid Prime series on the Wii U. And they did, but they've never done any of their old games, N64 generation around that, have never been re-emulated.
I'm going to take a stab in the dark, and again, I'm coming at it from a very uneducated point of view because I'm not a software engineer and I'm not a hardware engineer. I don't know enough about it, but I would imagine the N64 being cartridge based could be quite difficult to emulate on a modern.
But that software is still there.
But didn't
And
they
the
have
ability to read that software still exists because there's things like the Dolphin emulator and things like
Yeah,
that.
but
We're talking some pretty deep
But
piracy shit.
didn't they have this with Virtual Console on the Wii U?
Not N64.
Not N64.
The N64 games are one of the only they've done anything that's on disc medium can be reported, which they're showing now with the Switch and various things. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, even 3DS, they've had games that have been able to be brought over to newer consoles. Not so much 3DS because they're still selling them for whatever fucking reason, but like old school Game Boy games, which are cartridge based as well, GameCube, Game Boy Color, all of those games have been able to be brought over. But the N64 is one of those ones that has just never been repeated.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about N64. I got a guy that's coming on, a friend of mine's coming on that loves the N64
Oh, yeah.
and grew up with it.
Same.
I have one now. I have one now as a collector,
yeah.
but I don't.
You can't play it.
I can,
Yeah.
but I didn't.
No, I
I've
mean,
got it-
you can play it. You just choose not to.
Yeah, but I didn't grow up with it either. You know what I mean? I
never had
didn't
one.
have.
We had one, and I had a group of mates over, and we plugged it into my 65-inch flat screen, and we played GoldenEye in 4 players.
Unreal.
And it was astounding and atrocious at the same time.
Well, I used to play that as well at uni because when it came out in '96 or '97,
I don't know a
everyone was
single
playing
person that didn't play
Yeah.
GoldenEye. But this was something that and that modern gaming has totally changed. I know we're getting completely sidetracked
No,
with
it's
peripherals,
fine.
but this was something that it was so bizarre because we all played Call of Duty and other modern shooters, 2 sticks and whatever else, and this was such a learning it was such a learning experience that we had to you had to fall into those old habits of using the control stick to move without strafing, without aiming. You weren't playing the way that you play now.
Well, that was
the way that they did it. It was so like that controller. That was, and this isn't necessarily a peripheral, but that controller, that iconic 3-stick.
That was terrible.
It was the most bizarre.
But
adjunct piece of tech, but it totally worked for the time.
But that was in an era before the 360 camera movement was the thing, and that's why I made a comment a couple of weeks ago that the big chink in the armor of the Dreamcast is that they didn't, with their controller, they didn't include a second analog stick,
single stick,
and that made things very, very difficult in terms of movement. And I don't know why they didn't go that route. I'm talking about the Dreamcast because. By then Sony had released the DualShock, and that was a bit of a game changer.
That as a peripheral, not necessarily as a controller, but it started as a peripheral because game developers still weren't behind it, and it was something that Sony were pushing, and that is now. And you think about it nowadays, the concept of having only one controller stick is so bizarre.
Wouldn't be able to do shit.
You cannot do
it's
shit.
Terrible. It's terrible going back to play an old Dreamcast game with only one analog stick.
It's a nightmare. But there was one controller, and speaking of controllers, and I don't know if you can pull it up on the screen, but this was so a couple of these that I've found that I remember either having or seeing, and the starting one that I want to talk about is the GameCube Resident Evil 4 chainsaw controller.
Oh, this is what you showed us
now,
upstairs.
This is one of the strangest pieces.
I'm going to go eBay this shit.
100, and so you should. Okay, so just click on that first image or that second image there, and that whoever at Nintendo
that's insane
thought that was going to be a good option to play this new amazing GameCube game. There was, I've said in the other show I was on, it's one of my favorite games of all time, but this is impossible to use.
Because the Wavebird controller was awesome.
The Wavebirds were great.
It was awesome, yeah.
But this fucking thing...
It's terrible.
So the buttons are exactly the same as the GameCube.
Would you say, was that a special edition of the game?
It was. It was a limited edition.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the standard GameCube controller. This wasn't something that you needed to play the game.
It was probably designed for people to keep in a box.
It was. It was designed, but it was 100% functional.
Fucking eBay that.
I fucking want it, yeah.
The most insane... bizarre thing that you can get at all, and I've never seen another controller that is quite so unique.
I fucking want it now. We're on eBay now looking for it. I kind of want it.
I guarantee they are not going to be cheap.
No, they won't be. That's like my Space 1999 fucking Eagle transporter.
It's like your Robotex.
How much are they? Do you know?
I meant to look them up actually. I saw. I think one of the ships was like a good couple of grand for a mint in box.
The SDF one would probably be worth a lot, yeah.
But you should definitely check and see if these things are worth anything.
Yeah. Look,
finding one of these controllers nowadays will be there you go. Oh, $200.
Oh, bullshit.
That's easy, mate.
That's done.
Done this afternoon, mate.
But that's from the US.
Yep.
I'm fucking getting that. No bullshit. That's brand new. It's still in the box.
That's for the PS2.
Yeah, so the GameCube one was different. It was yellow, and it looked like the chainsaw from the game.
Was there only one of those?
So you want the GameCube version, not the...
Let's just fix the search string, shall we?
The GameCube's a really underrated console, don't you think, Simon?
The GameCube had some of my favorite games of...
Well, they had Resident Evil as exclusives.
Resident Evil 4 was an exclusive
for quite a period
for
of
about
time.
a year. There it is,
that.
$41.
Yeah, no, that's current bid.
Still. So that's
there it is. There's your is that it there? That's it there.
That's the one. That's the PS2 one, because you see the PS2 one was orange, had slightly different controller configuration.
There's not a lot around.
There aren't a lot, and they're not cheap.
I'm getting
one. If you scroll back up, there was the little man. There you go.
Buy
That's
it
the
now.
guy.
$280 from Australia.
That's the guy. $351.
Yeah, but the one above it's $280 he wants.
That's the PS4.
That's PS2.
PS2, sorry.
PS2. So what do you think's more rare, the GameCube?
The GameCube one is rarer.
Okay.
Because it came out first And it was, again, limited edition, and it had this...
Well, he's from Australia too, which is good.
I would 100% drop some cat. Wow.
Oh, I'm getting that. I'm fucking getting it.
$500.
How much? 500?
500 Australian.
You know what? I'd fucking get it. We'll do a fucking unboxing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, can we? Can we do an unboxing on
yeah.
that? We should start doing fucking weird unboxings.
Let's do that.
I don't know if I want to unbox it, but I want to show it off.
Oh, heck yeah. The other one that I wanted to talk about, another GameCube random fucking thing.
Yeah. That's. I never knew that
The
existed.
Donkey Konga
Oh
Jungle
yeah, the
drums.
The drums, yeah.
So this was a game that was a rhythm game. It was one of the first Guitar Hero style games. There was like modern music that you played the bongos to, and it was very simple. It was left, right, both, and clap, because the clap was just using the microphone. Mm-hmm. This was the strangest.
I do remember seeing that come out.
And it was weird. And then they had this other, there was an actual game, a Donkey Kong game that came out where it was, you had to move Donkey Kong and he was like jumping along things. It was very strange. But this as a controller, as a set of fucking bongo drums.
Yeah.
Because that just shows you what Nintendo was smoking.
Yeah. What was that?
Smoking
What
like
was
Take the OS.
They
on the
were
end of that,
smoking some cracks.
Donkey Kong bong.
Super
Still in the
Simon?
box.
Look at that. That's amazing.
Super Simon, what were they doing? What were the drums actually doing?
So there were two games. There was the rhythm game.
Yep.
And
So it was
then
kind of
there
like
was-
a pre.
It was a
rock band.
precursor to Rock Band and
Okay.
Guitar Hero. And then there was this other game. It was like a platformer.
Yep.
Where you had to like jump. So you hit both things together to jump between. I don't know if it was like vines or something or pegs or something. It was very, very unusual game. And then when you had the boss, you had to go to beat the shit out of the boss. And depending on how many you hit and what sort of combo you got a higher score. It was absolutely insanely strange. But because that's what Nintendo do. That's why I love Nintendo, is they make the
Some
most
weird
Well, they-
unusual
yeah.
decisions.
They've
Fuck,
been-
I can't wait to
Well,
go to
you can
Japan.
argue-
Just
Oh,
saying,
hell.
man.
Oh, dude, Super Potato.
Super Potato.
Oh, you have to go. And you have to get me something.
You could argue that Nintendo have been the most innovative company in the video game industry.
I mean, fucking
for
look at the
yeah.
Switch.
Okay, this thing here, this gorgeous little thing that I adore
The
to
Switch,
pieces.
yeah.
I have shifted my games purchasing, and most of the stuff that's coming out, and they may be old games, they may be new games, I don't care. This thing I adore. And even this thing has some weird peripherals, because as everybody knows, the Switch controllers pop off,
Yep.
and you can get your
Joy-Cons.
Joy-Cons that are
All the
wireless.
above, mate. Yep.
They now have, for the Nintendo Online version, they have original Nintendo NES controllers that slide on,
Beautiful.
Oh, yep.
that are just designed for their online NES games.
Yeah.
And it completely fucks the aesthetics of the console, because you've got like the way this is nicely designed and it's
Yeah.
curved and it meets the same shape, and then you have these two grey
things.
fucking rectangles that are impossibly uncomfortable. And again, they're not usable like these.
People love it because it's retro.
Because it's nostalgia.
Yeah.
Nostalgia.
I have concerns about the Switch's future, though.
It'll be fine.
Well, it will be.
Fuckers
But
like us will keep
Two
buying them.
years, man, and they have sold what 22
They're
million units.
fastest selling.
they
console.
are, but
Yeah.
but I think they're going to look very weak against the new consoles that come
They're
out.
bringing
Do you
out
know
a new
what?
one.
That's what I've heard.
Everybody
but-
keeps saying it, and it wouldn't surprise me if they bring out a Switch XL
Yeah.
or a
Well-
Switch 2.
Well, here's the thing. Here's some real nerdy shit. That uses the Tegra X1
Yep,
chip in it.
completely hackable as well.
Yeah, and it was supposed to, when it was first rumored to be this hybrid console, there was a rumor that they were going to get it off Nvidia at the Tegra X2.
Yep.
But Nintendo didn't go that path, obviously to save cost.
Yeah,
But the rumor with this supposed Switch Pro,
yeah.
maybe it uses the X2, the Tegra X2 chip in it, which will give it a big bump. But I think they're going to have to, because the PS5 and the Xbox, whatever they call it, is going to make it look pretty anemic.
But you know what? That's the whole thing that Nintendo have never cared about. They didn't need to make a great, they didn't need to make the most powerful console. They didn't need to make...
Well, I'd argue against that, because the Super Nintendo was more powerful than the Mega Drive
Right,
ever
right.
was,
But
and the N64 was also more powerful than
But what
anything
drove
else.
it is the software.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
the games and the IP, and of course Nintendo at the point where Nintendo are at now, as long as they continue to make games that people want to play, there will always be a market. And they have proven that this thing is an absolute runaway, that the Switch is a runaway success. It's been going for 2 years. They just this week celebrated their 2nd anniversary.
Yep.
And the thing has done unbelievable.
But you know why? Partly for me is they've tapped into a market that was exposed, where no one was playing in that market. Yeah. So they were
the handheld market. They've destroyed for the last.
But you know what? Like
since Game Boy Advance, DS,
that's what they do best.
The 3DS was sort of a hiccup. Like it did well, but it didn't do as well. But then this thing, as a combined home console experience that you can take with you, that wow moment of when you're playing a game and you click it into the dock and it goes to the screen.
Zelda for 15
oh
hours.
my
for me,
God.
Zelda.
I know this turned into me sucking Nintendo's dick for a little bit.
No,
I don't even
okay.
care.
No. I'm a massive fan of the Switch as well. I bought him a Switch. Jason Relaxation. I bought him a Switch.
That's the one.
But I got a Switch and I played Zelda.
Oh God!
To death.
That game.
And that's a very special game.
I still play Zelda.
That's a very special game that I was playing in a very bad time in my life. But I think part of me says that Nintendo's success is really because they've found a market that no one's really playing in.
Yep.
And I kind of don't understand why Sony in particular doesn't want to play in that market, because they've got they actually had the handheld that they could probably compete with the Vita back in the day.
And that was it. Like the PS Vita.
The Vita was awesome, man. I'm telling you
on
now.
it was amazing. It was basically a portable PS2.
The Vita was awesome.
And it was great, except nobody fucking cared.
Well,
they didn't have the developers behind it. They didn't have the...
Initially they did, but I think Sony walked away from that market way too early. And they did silly things. The Vita kind of came out in that in-between PS3, PS4 time when Sony didn't know what to do with the home console market themselves. And so it's a bit of a weird hybrid of the PS3, PS4 era. And it's a bit strange. Yeah. You know?
This is the next one that I wanted to talk about.
Oh, the fishing rod. Yeah, the Sega Dreamcast.
This to me was just such
You have to explain what it is.
So to the viewers at home who cannot see this, because
the two people that are listening.
Yeah. This is the Sega Dreamcast fishing rod reel controller.
It was for Seaman.
This was a bass hunter. Seaman.
Yep.
This was a fishing controller that is designed literally as a rod and reel that you would cast.
And I get it, because fishing is the world's number one sport. Right?
Fishing is a hugely popular thing, and I to this day still know people that have this controller and have Dreamcasts, so that they can play this game.
Yeah.
Even though it's a janky old, 97?
No, maybe? It came out in 99.
99?
Or maybe early 2000.
Did we have one of those?
I had a fishing rod, I had it.
This was the update. There was 2 versions of this.
That's a Mad Catz.
This was the third party?
Yep.
So there was also a third party version, which was equally as but again, the industrial design of this was great because they used the same feel as an actual rod and reel. So it's this bizarre mentality behind weird peripherals, and the one of the ones that now we're going to move into, which is sort of a precursor for the Wii. This is one of those things that every kid in the 90s really loved.
Porn.
We're not talking about your under the bed magazines.
I know what it is, and you can use it with porn. It's the Power Glove.
You certainly can. Because if you haven't jerked off whilst wearing a Power Glove,
I've got one.
You have never played with power.
I've got a Power Glove.
Remind me not to pick up the Power Glove.
Do not ever touch a man in his 40s Power Glove, because guaranteed he has used that thing to jerk off.
It's sticky, man. This
thing was Nintendo's first ever foray into motion control.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it fucking sucked.
Yep.
The calibration was always garbage.
Because you needed a sensor net, didn't you? You needed to stand in a ring or something.
You needed to have these suction cap sensors that stuck to your TV in all 4 corners or 2 corners. It took up a lot of power. It was impossible to program because it was. If you ever remember the Game Genies, which was going to be one of my next ones, which I'll get to that in a sec. that it had programmable buttons for the entire Nintendo library, well, the majority of the Nintendo library that supported it.
Yep.
And it was just like, it looked amazing. It was so wonderfully 90s.
Well, you remember the movie The Wizard?
I loved that movie.
So
I must have watched that movie about 100 times.
That was
growing
basically
up.
a huge Nintendo
It was an ad.
basically for the NES, and Fred Savage was in it.
Fred
And
Savage
he had
was in
this
it.
autistic brother.
And the dad from the Wonder Years was also in it.
That's right.
What this house needs is Pepsi.
That's right.
Yep.
And do you remember the baddie kid?
Yes.
Do you remember the bad kid?
I love the power glove.
It's so bad.
It's so bad.
And he had the glove, and he was and he's steering a
He was
car
playing,
like.
was it Cruising USA or California Races, something like that?
I think it was California Races, but I can't really remember. But I remember they advertised.
They
the power
made
glove.
that thing look
like it was
so baller. They made it look phenomenal. And then everybody that got it used it for about a week.
But you know why?
And then never touched the fucking thing again.
But you know why? Because in that movie they didn't have the sensor net bullshit set
No.
up with it, and he's not even doing what you can actually do with this
No.
power glove. He's like
He's pretending to steer a car.
Yeah, it was bullshit.
Like, the whole concept behind it was great. And they sold the vision, but they didn't sell the reality.
Yeah.
And this is Nintendo doing what Nintendo does best.
Yeah.
Is that they give
Coming
you
up with
something,
bizarre
Well,
ideas.
the weirdest fucking thing in the
Super
world.
Simon, would you say Nintendo are the kings of motion control or the peripherals?
They are one of the pioneers.
But they would have released more than any other company, I would have thought.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So the next guy, so these were cross-platform. These were a company.
Oh, the cheat
The-
devices, the Game Genies.
And this is something that sort of doesn't really exist the same way that it used to. But the Game Genie, which was cross-platform, so they had it for Nintendo, they had it for SNES, they had it for Game Boy. And I remember having one for a Game Boy. And again, the same principle was behind it. You put your game into the Game Genie, it went into the console. You had a pre-menu, which let you punch in a button code because you had this booklet that was a phone book thick that had all the cheats for
in
each
it.
individual game, and it had their page direct. It was literally a phone book
Yep.
for cheating. And I remember having this, and it was the second time I got it was I used it to beat Tetris on the Game Boy. I don't know why I used it to beat Tetris.
This was also-
but I did, because that was 5-year-old brain.
Sorry, this was also a way of not having to ring the Sega number or the
Yes!
Nintendo number.
Yes!
Remember that?
The hotlines!
The hotline. So if you were stuck, people forget this, but back in those days, I'm talking the
you
late 80s.
could call Nintendo or
the 90s,
Sega customer support, and they would help you through.
There was a nerd on
hard
the end of
parts
there was
and
a-
Technically,
games
you can do that with Microsoft. I don't know about Sony. I think you probably could.
for
Technical support.
No.
No,
We're talking how
we're
to,
not talking
no,
technical support.
How to
We're
fix it.
talking game
Game
support.
support.
Yeah.
We're talking how, like, a precursor to the
You're
walkthrough.
too fucking young, man.
The precursor.
No.
This was the precursor to the walkthrough guide.
Ah, yep.
So
And
if
it was
you-
basically a person
Yep.
that you rang up and you said, "Hey, I need help with
You know what?
Dr. Mario, with Super Mario."
Yeah, so
2."
You know what? I see that as a business
Oh,
opportunity.
so
There
amazing.
used to be, so people forget now, if you get stuck on, you just do a walkthrough and you get on
You
YouTube
get on-
and
you
you
go
see
on
someone
YouTube.
do it.
Yeah.
But back in those days, say you got stuck on The Legend of Zelda,
Yeah.
you'd ring up
How do I get
Nintendo,
past the second Octorok
Yep.
on the 4th level?
Yep.
And they'll be like, "Okay, go to the bottom left corner."
But it was always a man-child Super Sign and be like,
I was always one of those guys.
What you do is you have to make sure you don't hit the log, because if you do, you'll die. And make sure you're safe, because if your mum comes in and vacuums and she knocks the console out of the power
Speaking
supply.
of massive father rants,
Yep.
this would have been a paid call, clearly.
Oh yeah, that
It was a
expensive, mate.
1900 number. Or
Yeah.
So it would have
they
been like
charged.
$1 a minute.
Yeah.
So if you
I,
look
I
at
remember
this,
Dad going off his tits
see, it
with
was a
STD calls.
1513 number. This may be a US version, but
Yeah.
there
was an Australian number.
The Game Genie had a number as well.
Yep.
That you could call to
Yep.
get help and to get like the direct things without having to look up, without having to go through the phone book.
Yep.
And this was such a genius business model.
Oh fuck!
So
I'm
what
going
was the
back.
other one?
I'm swimming in a sea of fucking nostalgia right,
Right?
now. Oh man, yeah.
Them feels. There was one other one that I wanted to look up.
Well, I remember the Zapper gun for the Sega Master System,
Oh,
which
yeah,
was the
that's right.
old.
Well, we had the gun for the Dreamcast.
We had
so
the well, that was for House of the Dead.
Dead, yep.
But a
Which in
Sega.
itself
Which
is a-
worked, and that worked, and because
did
they
work.
were
And
they
so
were
did
really
the
great.
Zapper gun. The
Yep.
Zapper gun worked as well for the Master System. That was a big gun that you pointed at your CRT TV. Kind of a shame they don't work with the modern day. Oh, that's the scope.
So
I remember that.
The Super Nintendo Super Scope, the
Yep.
fucking shoulder-mounted bazooka,
Yeah, I remember that.
was one of the most. So the original Nintendo had the Zapper, which was beautiful, and it had this beautiful trigger. It was like a real
Yep.
click. You could feel like you were shooting, and it was amazing. You had Duck Hunt, you had Hogan's Alley,
Yep.
you had
remember
the one
Duck Hunt,
the
Jesus.
one with the cans. And then
one with the
for the Super
cans.
Nintendo, they released the Super Scope, and I think they brought out maybe 2 games
yeah.
Yep.
in its entire life.
Can I ask you a really dumb question?
Please
Because for
do.
the people that are listening, the 2 people that are listening on audio, what we're basically pulling up is the Nintendo Super Scope. It looks like a big giant bazooka on
It is
a kid's shoulder. Can I ask you?
amazing.
Can I talk to you very quickly, Super Simon? Do
Yes.
you reckon that would get released today? Because
No.
I reckon there'd be a group of people saying you're encouraging warfare
That
and all
is
sorts
exact.
of bullshit.
The world that we live
Yep.
in now.
I look at that and go,
this would not.
wouldn't fly.
Okay, actually, no. I caveat that. You think about the number of Nerf guns that exist and the types of Nerf
But
guns
they
that
cop
now
shit too, though,
they
Super
do,
Simon.
but they're
Particularly
still
when
one
you
of.
shoot
They're
people in the
still.
eye.
Yeah. No, but how many parents come out?
Fuck you.
But how many parents come out now and say,
Oh,
Nerf
guns! No guns! No.
Yeah.
We were a no gun house.
Well, we fucking were.
We were not allowed to have guns, and when this came out,
I got to fuck. Don't say
we were
it.
not allowed to get it. My parents said it's a gun. You're not allowed it.
Don't you fucking say it.
But also, you can't have these sort of things on modern televisions.
No, you can't. But what I'm saying, if technically you could,
Yeah.
I think there would be a group of people not saying you can't
Oh,
release that,
guaranteed.
and I think public pressure would make Nintendo cave and say, yeah, we won't do it. You know what I mean?
Oh, this is the Japanese
Depends on the
model.
country.
This is the Famicom.
I really don't think it'd fly at all. I really don't.
Oh, your mouse is gone. This was one of those things that I absolutely adored. And again, another one of Nintendo's magnificently stupid peripherals that they brought out. They released it. They hyped it as a launch accessory, and then nothing happened with
But
it.
you know what? We're forgetting their first peripheral, and that was Robbie the Robot.
He was going to be my very
Was
last.
he? Oh, you're the fucking man.
So you
Super
beat me.
Simon.
You beat me
That's
to
his
it.
name, Robbie the Robot.
ROB.
No, they had to put that. Bit,
I know, but that's his name.
but you know the story of that, though, don't you, Super Simon?
Please enlighten me.
Well, this is just after the video game crash in the 80s. And so when
That's beautiful.
they released
Look
the
at this
Nintendo
guy.
Entertainment System in America or North America, no retailer had any confidence in video game consoles or video games because there were so many of them that they'd all failed.
Just look at
And
that.
so
have
what,
to buy that,
so what Nintendo had done, they said, no, this isn't a video game console, it's a toy.
Yeah.
And so what they did was they packaged Robbie the Robot. I think it was, am I
Rob.
right in that?
ROB.
Yeah,
It was
Rob the Robot. And they'd packaged it with the NES and said, no, it's actually a toy.
Yeah.
Don't worry, retailers. But it was actually a very hidden, very well
was
disguised
it was a
console.
deep cuts console. And
Yeah.
the thing that is amazing, this is, and I will go full nerd in a second.
Oh, fuck,
This
please
is-
do.
This is the precursor to STEM. The robotics labs that kids do, Lego Mindstorm, all of that.
This is what started.
Was the very first home consumer edition of robotics, robotics teaching. You used the Nintendo to program Rob so that he could pick up things,
That's
move
right.
little.
Yep.
He very slow. He had like a real. It was like a 10 centimeters a second or less movement range.
And that's how they marketed in the States.
And they sold
so
it.
they got around it.
They sold
Yeah.
it as a learning
That's
tool.
right. But secretly it was a video game.
But it
Fuck
was
all.
it was
learning happened
it
in
was
that thing.
it
Yeah.
was how they positioned it
Yeah, it's beautiful.
as a device that you didn't you had the Nintendo and you used it, but you didn't need to play games on it. You could do this learning thing, and the fact that there's one in a box.
You probably need to buy that.
They're very rare and very expensive now, Super
And
Simon.
the nicest
Yeah.
thing, the Japanese model was much nicer looking. So it was a beige color with red arms, not dissimilar to the color palette of the original Famicom.
Yeah.
Not the
Well,
NES.
we got the
so the NES in the US was this grey guy.
Yeah.
And he was the same colors. He was grey and grey.
What do they want for it? 280. Oh,
So
280.
$249
He wants 280 for
the
it.
US edition. $280.58 is this guy is selling the Japanese one,
Ooh,
which
I'm
is
fucking keen on
great.
that.
And then there's accessories and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Retro
this
Dan
was,
needs to go do some eBay.
Yeah, I got to do
tonight.
some eBay.
I tell you
lunch.
what, I never got one of these, but I always wanted one.
Yeah.
And now from a look and feel perspective, and just seeing this guy and knowing about him from pop culture, and also since they made him a playable character in Smash Brothers, he's one of my absolute favorite.
But the
Nintendo
history
things.
behind Rob the Robot's important because,
Yeah.
like I said, after the video game crash in 1984, 85.
Yep. After the Atari range.
Yeah. So
Before the SNES.
So you had
before the
so
NES.
many video game consoles. In fact, we might do an episode on the video game crash, but I've got to do a little bit more research on it. But I know enough to be dangerous. And long story short, all these video game consoles had come out and basically wiped the market out in North America, not so much here. And Nintendo wanted to get into it, but they disguised it as a toy, and they put this in.
Yeah.
And you could see the retailers falling for it. Oh, it's a robot.
Yeah.
And because remember the 80s?
And 80s, everybody loved fucking robots.
Fucking Teddy Ruxpin, Smarty Bear.
Oh, Teddy. I need to bring in my Teddy. Yeah, I forgot
So
about that.
if it was a robot, it was a toy.
But just look at him.
Yeah,
He was so cute. And the eyes and the little clamp hands. Yeah, and that
Short circuit,
I believe, I don't know which one came first, but I'm pretty certain that they modeled Johnny Five on Rob.
A little bit with the eyes.
It looks very
Because
similar.
they do not look dissimilar. He's got the wide base.
Yeah.
He's got the clip arms. God, that movie. Just fantastic.
You got any other peripheral, Super Simon? I've got one that I want to rant about for 1 second.
Hit me.
Have you got any other retro ones before I go into the?
No, man. I wanted to finish on the one that the ones that I thought
want
were
to
the
move on
best.
to the motion control debacle of
Oh yes.
the last generation. So you had obviously the Wii,
Yeah.
which was basically a peripheral device. I don't give a fuck what anyone
Look,
says.
We had a Wii Fit.
The Wii, but
How
that,
do we fit?
but the Wii spawned all these other
The Wii
peripherals.
Fit, which we called the Wii shit.
But the
Oh,
Wii,
it was garbage.
but the Wii was basically a peripheral of the GameCube. You
it
know
was
that,
useful.
don't you?
It was
Yeah.
useful as a scale.
No, but it's developed. But
As a scale, it was the
Yeah, but
best
it's-
digital scale you could get.
but its development actually started with the GameCube.
Yep.
yeah.
So what they wanted to do was they wanted to release those peripherals, which were the nunchucks or whatever they were, as an add-on for the GameCube. And they said, no, we'll actually create a new console, but it was just a beefed up version of the GameCube. It wasn't that much more powerful than a
Wii
GameCube.
Fit balance board.
And
It's
so you had all this
literally
other shit. So you had
electric
the
scale.
Wii was basically a pure peripheral. And then on top of that, you had the balance board.
Yep. Which we
Right.
had.
Yep.
And the Wii was shit. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. As a console, that was Nintendo's worst console.
There wasn't
Even
much
though,
on it. It was
even
fucking
though it
garbage.
fucking sold.
I love the Wii. I absolutely adored it. I remember being
I
at the
hate
Wii launch
Ugh.
at EB Games in Chatswood. I was there for the midnight launch, and they had pizza and soda, and people were buying their Wiis.
Oh fuck.
And I
There
got
goes-
home.
there- okay, so there goes our next episode.
Yeah.
You've just given us an idea.
No, I've got another idea for another
So,
time.
but I lined up with all of the nerds, and I got home, and the only game that was available was
That's a
fucking the Wii Sports. So you had bowling, and I played boxing. I was up until 2 a.m. doing Wii boxing with my fucking me.
Do you know what
And I worked up the most
you know what-
amazing sweat, and then I slept like a baby.
Do you know what my problem with the Wii is? My problem with the Wii
it
is...
looked garbage by comparison.
No. My problem with the Wii is that I'll never forget this. We were it was summertime, and we were staying at a little place that we have up in the holiday on the beach.
Yep.
And this cousin that's coming down for an episode in the future, her auntie comes out and says, "Oh, you like video games? I've got a Wii. Let's play Wii. It's really fun." And I went, "This Wii shit," because she knows nothing. She knows nothing about video games, and
Yeah.
she reckons it's cool.
It's
And
like
It's bound to be fun.
That's
it's like
me.
old people on Facebook.
Yep.
As soon as the old
Yep.
people get into it, it's like, no,
Get out.
Yep.
Do not fucking touch
When my
it.
mum got on Facebook, I went off it. Fuck
Yeah.
it, because I knew it was shit, and it is shit. And I ran it about Facebook and the Wii shit, right? But people, it has the worst adoption rate of any fucking console in the history of consoles. Do you know that? Less people.
But the Wii was one of the biggest sellers
Yeah,
of
but I'm
Nintendo's
talking. I'm
life.
talking how many games per console.
Oh,
was
right,
sold,
right.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's got the lowest attachment, I should say, not
Yeah.
adoption,
I
attachment.
was going to say, adoption, this thing sold
I meant attachment.
this thing sold, that was one of the highest selling
120,
consoles
120 million or
yeah,
something, right?
in its life, which
Yeah.
is amazing.
So here's the
Which is
thing.
why you can still buy one of these things for $40.
Yeah.
Because there's so many out there.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing, right? Nintendo fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. They said, "Oh, we've sold 120 million of it. We won the 7th gen consoles.
Yep.
We're fucking the shit, right?"
And
but
then
what they didn't realize
is that it was going to fuck gaming forever.
No, but what they didn't realize was that it sat on the shelf. You played it once, twice, not 3 times a lady. He fucking likes it when I say that, right? But it was the biggest dust collector in the history of video game consoles. No one fucking played it. And I meant attachment rate before, not adoption
you're
rate.
right.
But attachment rate, you might have only bought one game for the fucking thing, and that was Wii Sports.
Yep.
And that
came
was
with it.
That came with it.
Because it came with it, right? And it was like this person I said that, my cousin's auntie, she says, "Oh, it's cool." She only played one fucking game, and that was Wii Sports. She didn't play anything else on it. So it was a shit console. But unfortunately, it spawned the fucking worst peripherals in the history of video games. Because then now I'm going to fucking rant. So now you got PlayStation Move. And that was just 2 fucking dildos.
It was
that
the
you were,
Wii, the
it was-
PlayStation Wii, and they were fucking atrocious.
The fucking Move was terrible. It did nothing. And then they started ramming it down your throat. I was playing Heavy Rain, which was fucking awesome. And then they were saying, "Oh, do you want to use Move controllers?" And
fuck
you're like,
off.
"No, fuck off." Right? And
What?
then...
Hey,
and
whoa,
then,
whoa, hang on. What was wrong with the big pink and the big blue testicles that were on the top of the Move
Oh, fuck.
controllers?
You know what that was? Sony was dipping
was
their
their
toe.
tracking.
They were dipping their toe half in the water to see what motion controls were doing. What happened was Microsoft and Sony went, "Holy shit, Nintendo are selling millions of these
Millions of
consoles and we
consoles.
can't keep up with them because we've made traditional consoles.
Yep.
We want to try something different." And they did. Sony brought out the Move controllers and Microsoft brought out the Kinect. But they were both fucking abysmal. The Move controllers were better than the fucking Kinect. Now I'm going to fucking rant because that fucking Kinect
I've opened
was
a
an
can of worms,
absolute
people.
piece of shit.
Should I leave the room?
Right? Yeah, fuck that fucking Kinect. I'll fucking go to Microsoft and I'll tell them that Kinect was the worst fucking thing that I ever bought, and I blame myself because I fell for it because they made me believe the fucking thing was going to be awesome because they had that fucking Milo and fucking Peter Molyneux on E3 telling me it was going to be awesome, but it wasn't. Tell me sweet little lies, but it wasn't fucking good at all. And the
Molyneux.
thing was, it didn't work. And when you wanted to use it with Kinect Sports, it didn't work.
Nope.
Right? You had
the only thing it worked with was Fruit Ninja.
yeah, that was all
Fruit
right.
Ninja and that was a game that I've been playing on my phone.
That was exactly.
Since 2010,
That's right.
maybe?
That's
maybe
right.
even earlier?
But the biggest insult of all, and I've
Fuck
told
me.
this story before, one
I'm
of
gonna
our
play
very
Fruit
good
Ninja
friends
when I
will
get
never buy a Microsoft product ever again because he doesn't forgive Microsoft for making us buy a Kinect again for the
It's a true
Xbox
story.
One, right?
Yep.
That's a true story. And I understand that because the Kinect version 1 was shit.
Yep.
And Microsoft had the fucking balls to come out and tell us at launch of Xbox One that they've improved it. Oh, yeah, we know the Kinect 1 was shit. We know that, but we've fixed it. But they didn't fix it. It was still fucking shit. In fact, if not
All
worse.
they did was
I'm gonna correct you. There is a use for the Kinect controller.
put it in the bin. A door
There's one
stop.
that you're gonna
A door stop.
There's one that you're gonna like.
What?
On Ghost Adventures, they use it for mapping ghosts.
Oh,
Yeah,
bullshit,
yeah.
do they?
Because of the tech behind it, it's got this
Oh, that's-
amazing
that's cool.
infrared array. It's
Do they really?
50,000
Do they
dots.
walk around with a Kinect going,
Yes.
"We can see you now, you pussy ghosts"?
Yes. Okay, so
If
when
you
we go
ever wanna
upstairs, I'm
see-
going to show you the latest episode.
All right. Yep.
And they actually map a stripper dancing on a pole.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
If you ever want to see something cool, get yourself a Kinect sensor and a set of night vision goggles. Because
yeah.
when
It's
you
got
turn
dots
that,
everywhere.
it sets out this array of millions and millions of dots that are infrared dots.
Yeah.
And it's how they got your movement mapping
But do you
done.
see why people back
But
in
who the
20
fuck cares?
But do you see why
That's
people...
like tech. That's cool tech.
It does have
But
other
completely
uses.
But do you
wasted.
see why in 2013 people were saying you're spying on us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is when the NSA bullshit was going
Yeah.
on in America and people's privacy was being, being extorted. And,
Yep.
and 2011, Sony had that fuck up with a PSN. So everyone was like paranoid about security, and rightly so.
And every one of us has a Google Home or an Alexa now.
And here's the
Not me,
worst
man.
thing. Microsoft said, put it underneath your TV, and it's two fucking eyes staring at you. It looked like the HAL 9000 from fucking 2001: A Space Odyssey. I'm sorry, I can't do that for you, Dave. Right? And the thing was, it didn't work. And when it did work, it fucked you up. So bloody menus were scrolling when you didn't want the menus to scroll. And things were being executed when you didn't want. And if someone was on YouTube going Xbox on, your fucking Xbox turned on. But it never turned off. It was a cock of a fucking device.
I will say,
and I'll fucking go on record for saying it was the worst peripheral ever fucking designed by anyone.
And I will,
unless you're a ghost adventurer.
Before you end it, I have to say this one thing, and the reason that I hated the Kinect so very much. Star Wars Kinect.
Oh, fuck.
That is the most atrocious bit of cross-marketing. Absolutely fucking abysmal.
But the
the
game
only
was
good thing, and it very rarely
The game
worked.
was an insult.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I'm Han Solo. I'm Han Solo. The fucking dancing game?
Yeah, that's
oh,
what I
my
now, Super Simon,
God.
you know that I like collectibles.
I do.
I refuse to fucking collect that console.
Totally
Even
understandable.
though the actual 360 console
the R2D2
looks a shit.
and the
It
C3PO
looks the
controller,
shit, yes.
they were beautiful. Absolutely
but
fantastic.
I do not want to associate myself with that fucking piece of shit game. Fuck off and fuck your fucking Kinect up your ass. And I'm fucking glad that Microsoft failed with this console generation, because you know why? They've learnt, and so Sony to a lesser extent, that these types of movement controls are fucking not what we want. Right? And they even integrated it with the bullshit Vita. They put it with the Vita where the fucking...
You had a touchscreen on the front and a touchpad at the back, and you had gyro controls.
And they couldn't help themselves. When they launched the PS3, they called it the S-axis with a fucking controller that you could turn the controller left and right. Yeah. I don't want it, and no one else wanted it either.
The nicest thing about the PS4 generation was that it had that touch bar at the front, it had all the tilt shit, and the best thing that you could do, and every developer did it, is you could turn that shit
Exactly,
off.
they learned.
You did not need to play the game with those gimmicky
But this
garbage.
is what worries me about VR, because VR is now the gimmick of the 8th generation in my opinion. And yes, the technology is much better, and yes, I've played some awesome games on it. And I'm not saying the tech shit.
Don't you have to use the Move controllers for the PSVR?
You don't have to.
You don't have to, but that's what Sony basically did to recycle.
The thing is, the light on the front of the on the back of the
it picks up with the camera.
But Super Simon's right. You do with some games. You do have to use the move.
Because I know Super Hot you need it because that game is designed so you've got two individual weapons.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Same with there was the Batman VR had it.
Yep. Not every game, but
not every game.
But that was
I think Doom has it, and I would be very interested to see what VFR is like.
But see,
I know you want a controller.
But this was Sony's solution to try and recycle that technology that they lost money on. Right, and they brought it back, and it's a bit of a half-assed attempt.
Absolutely.
Right? And they're not, and that's why it's not as good. And not without the technical bullshit, it's not as good as what is it? The Vive with the dedicated.
They've got their own individual. They're like Joy-Cons.
Yeah,
they're essentially
that's what
like
you want.
larger, high capacity.
That's
Joy-Cons.
what you want. But so I can understand why Sony did it. They said, "Well, we've got this old tech. Let's revisit it. We've already done it, right?" But
I bet it's improved.
It probably is, but I'm still skeptical about any peripheral, period.
Yeah.
Even if it's good like VR is, I'm still skeptical of it. And I don't think it's going to take off to what Sony thinks it's going to take off. And I know that they're going to incorporate it with a PS5, probably. That's the rumor. Yep. And that does make it more engaging and easy for people to, to get it. But I do think, unless Sony are happy with that, it's going to be a very small part of their market. Yep. Maybe they're happy with it. Maybe if they say to themselves, if we sell 100 million PS5s in the future and we only sell 5 million or 10 million VFR units, we're happy. Maybe they're happy with that. I don't know. But I look at it as a business perspective and go, that's bullshit. You've sold a 15th of what you should be selling. That's my opinion of it. And it goes back to that any peripheral that's ever been released is shit. Yep. It doesn't sell. Yep. And this is, go even further back. Look at Sega. We didn't talk about it.
We didn't even talk about Sega.
Look at the 32X. That was considered
a peripheral. Basically, it was a console add-on.
The CD...
I will say this.
The CD-ROM add-on.
The only peripherals that truly worked, and there are two of them. The N64 Rumble Pack...
Yes,
because that added N64 memory pack.
Yeah, but the memory pack had to be used with some games.
You had to use the memory pack to save.
And the Rumble pack added to the experience.
The Rumble pack was amazing.
Yeah.
That was the best peripheral
Well,
because it
actually-
literally was a plug-in vibrator for your
Well,
controller.
actually, again, the Dreamcast had a rumble pack too.
Did
People
it?
forget- yes, it
There
did.
you go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they had the little virtual, the visual memory
The
chip thing.
VMUs, yeah.
It was a
but
Tamagotchi.
I wouldn't say that's a peripheral. That was a necessity.
Yeah, that was an
Rumble
that was
Pack-
an add-on.
that was just safe,
the Rumble
essentially.
pack for the Dreamcast was a peripheral.
Yeah.
I don't know why, and this is why I stand by the fact that the Dreamcast controller is not great, because that should have been included. You know what I mean? But they didn't include it.
That's correct.
So have we got any other peripherals we want to revisit before we wrap this bad
That
boy
was
up?
it,
Because how
gentlemen.
long have we been recording this bullshit?
Just under 2 hours.
Oh, we're fucking done.
I hate
Well,
to say it, boys, but I got to take a piss.
I got.
I'm fucking aching for a piss.
Have we vented everything we wanted to vent? Have we
I have.
ranted? Have we said everything we wanted to say?
I'd like to think so.
I'm done. This has been Invert the Why episode number 12. I don't give a fuck if you don't like me saying it, because that's the fucking number as far as I'm concerned in my head. You can edit this shit out later. I've been Retro Dan, joined by Jason, Relaxation and Super Simon. I'm sorry I ranted about peripherals. I can't help it. I've been dealing with this shit since the 80s, ever since the Zapper gun. It's a rabbit hole I can't get out of. Episode number 12, and it's done. Roll it, muggies!